On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Nick will rejoin the program after contracting the Blue Plague virus on Batuu. Nick will go over his top 5 Mandoverse moments, his 4-year-long battle to get Revan's lightsaber hilt, and his thoughts on the Star Wars news he's missed. After that, the dudes will take a headfirst dive into the shallow end of the Bad Batch pool to break down the Season 3 trailer, Asajj's return, and what each episode may feature. Of course, the show will end with a Question of the Week segment and the latest round of Top 5 Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie.
Oh, damn it, and Nick's not even on the screen and my hat's off. Hold on, everybody. Welcome to the Star Wars Time Show. That's right, I forgot. I had to use Nick's window 2 weeks ago for our buddy Connor over at Beyond the Dune Sea. So let me bring young Nick back in and put him into that co-pilot seat where he belongs. There he is! Hey. He's back! Woo! Hello. There he is. Hello. All right. Let's get some of the balloons going. Is that a peace sign? I forget. Will it work? Yes, there it is. Nick's back. Happy days are here again. All right, man. Holy shit. Yeah, B-Mad. I don't know about the intro. Yes, they are pre-recorded. I pay a guy to sound like the Clone Wars voiceover dude, and sometimes he goes a little off the rails. But we're here. Nick's alive. The blue, whatever I'm calling it, the blue plague virus that he contracted on Batuu has been beaten. He's now a 10-time survivor of that virus and COVID. So welcome back, Nick. Good to see you, buddy. It's lots happened in the past 2 or 3 weeks since you've been here. So what we're going to do, we're just going to catch up, right? I haven't seen this guy in a few weeks. Some major Star Wars news came across the wire last week or 2 weeks ago and this week. So we're gonna touch on that. And unlike I said last week, we are not going to complete our Star Wars top scenes of the franchise, at least live action, this week. And that's because Bad Batch Season 3 trailer dropped yesterday. So you know what time it is. It is time for the tried and true, often missed, never watched Star Wars Time Show deep dive of a new Star Wars drop. So that's really going to be the meat today. But before we get into that, obviously we got to catch up with young Nick, kind of hash out what he's been up to. Those of you that have been fans for many, many years, he's got a fun little story to tell you that's finally going to put to bed a Star Wars Time Show tale that has persisted, Nick, I think since 2020.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back a long, and I forgot there's a shirt to commemorate it, and I forgot to wear it because I've just been running around with work stuff a lot. But I did, for those of you out there who noticed it, I did put out a reel on the Instagram yesterday, and the whole center of that reel is around this lightsaber here. This is the Hasbro Darth Revan Force Effects Elite lightsaber. So the story behind this, for those of you who are not in the know, when this saber initially released like 4 years ago, I did a pre-order on Amazon because I was super psyched to get it. I was like, oh yeah, Revan saber, I'm down. I can't wait to get it. And during that process, during the time between when I pre-ordered it and when it was set to be delivered, I moved. So I got in touch with Amazon support. I was like, hey, I need to update my delivery address for this. I no longer live at that other address. Amazon support was like, oh yeah, no problem. All good. Supposedly updated the address. And then when it was supposed to arrive, it did not. And then I came to find out that somehow or another Palpatine returned, and then somehow or another my whole order got canceled. So they didn't update my address. They just canceled the whole order. And then when I tried to go back to buy it, it was no longer available. And I was like, this is just a whole fucked up mess. Like, There is a shirt to commemorate it that came from our good friend Action Figure Snaps. Adrian Belgar made me a shirt that says Amazon, where's my lightsaber? I actually think I wore it on the cast a few weeks ago. But now that question is answered. Where is the lightsaber? It is here. It is in my hands. This is the Force Effects Elite Revan lightsaber that is, you can see there too. The light comes on even without the blade being on. It's a very slick lightsaber for sure. A big fan of how this looks. It's all metal. It fits very nicely in the hands. Very light. It looks great on its display stand.
Don't want to cut you off, Nick, but B Mad just gave you a super chat for the lightsaber.
Oh, thank you, sir. So yes, this has been a long tale, and I mean, Best Buy came through. So essentially.
Nick, did you get it on a discount then? I didn't hear that part.
I did. So the way that I found it was I follow this this account called Cheap Ass Gamer, and it's like they give you like cheat, like when video games are on sale.
That's not Wario 6. Do you follow Wario 64 too then? Because he kind of does the same thing.
I don't follow that one. But yeah, I have heard of the Wario 64 account though. But I follow. It's called Cheap Ass Gamer or CAG Deals on Instagram and Threads. I don't have a Twitter account. And they posted they posted about the Revan saber 50% off. I was like, oh my god, I can't fucking believe it. 4 years later, I can finally get this thing. So I went on to Best Buy. They had this 50% off, but then I also saw that they had the Obi-Wan Kenobi Force Effects Elite saber as well. So I ordered both of them. The Revan one got here like a day
both
after I ordered it.
Both for 50 off?
Both for 50% off.
So what? Those are what? Under $100 at that point, or right at 100?
They're like right. Actually, they're a little bit more than 100 because I think it was like $279 for the Force Effects Elite prior to the 50% off. So my total cost was essentially like I think my total cost was like $290 for both of them. So I got both of them for around $140.
Bango.
So good deal. The Kenobi saber should be coming up soon. Haven't gotten it yet, but it should be getting here sometime this week. And that's not even all of the saber news. For those of you in the know, I was in Galaxy's Edge while we were gone, and I did build out another Savvy's Workshop custom blade. I'm holding it up here now to the screen for those of you that are on the live stream, but it is a dark side blade. It is the blade option that you can choose for like power and something else that like break down the 4 tiers by like, nature and power and legacy and guardianship and stuff like that. So I built the dark side saber. As you can see, it is huge. It is a massive beast. It's super heavy. I mean, this is the comparison. I'm trying to hold both of them up to the screen for the comparison between the Disney Park saber and the Revan one. And the Revan one is significantly bigger and heavier. But it was fun. It was a good experience.
Are those new options, Nick? I didn't remember seeing those before. They got some new fits you can pick there.
They may have had some new ones. Yeah, I couldn't remember what the original options were for the dark side saber.
I don't remember seeing that matte black shit. I mean, to explain it for people on the radio. I mean, it's a nice matte black. And Nick, would you agree it's kind of like Kylo's hilt, where you can see some of the wiring is exposed?
Exactly. Yeah, you can see wiring exposed. So this was just like one of the options. The other option was a little bit more textured in the grips and stuff. But I did like how, like you said, this one has the wires that kind of run up the chassis, and it makes it look like a Kylo saber. So, it was a really fun experience. I did it with one of our friends. So Taylor and I went with a couple of ours, and I did my build, and then they did their build too, which was really fun. It's always a fun time. And after the builds, so like they go like the guy who runs the whole show, if you've ever done the Savvy's Workshop stuff in Disney, he goes around and he asks everybody like, oh, looks like you did some ancient Jedi build. Why did you choose this one? And he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, it looks like you're using some dark side parts there, some dark side pieces. What led you to build this?"
Thrawn and Ahsoka.
Yes. And I was like, it spoke to me, and he's like, "Oh, it spoke to you. Be careful. You never know what could be reaching out to you through the Force." It was a very fun little experience.
Yeah, you're like, I hate fucking live action Thrawn. I want to kill all of you. You like do the Palpatine spin slash in the middle of the session and start killing little kids.
Exactly.
Sorry, I get excited. Here, coming from Bango, Nick, apparently they've kept the classes more or less the same, but they changed the pieces.
Yeah. It's the same 4 categories that you can choose from. So I guess that they have.
So what did you have to go red, or do they have the orange now for like Balin and Shin?
I don't believe they have orange that you can choose. No, there are. There's yellow, there's purple, red, blue, green. I think that those are all of the options you can choose in the Savvy's build. And then there's the Doc Ondar shop that's right next to it where you can go in and buy individual crystals as well. And I know in there, I think that there's a white and I don't know if there's an orange though. I did not see if there was an orange.
Yeah. Cause I mean, your hilt, especially at the top, the emitter, I guess what they call it. It's got that Balin like crown look. I mean, also like Revan. So Nick's into the spiky emitters, just in case his blade ever goes dull, he can just start stabbing your eyes out.
But I did pick the red blade. But like I said, I have a ton of the other color crystals from when I did the build last time. And I just went in and I bought some of the extra color crystals and stuff. So, but yeah, I did choose red, and they were like, red lightsaber, dark side. Be careful with your choices, young one.
Like, damn right. And you like clothesline a little kid and be like, Anakin would have done the same thing. Pussy. Yeah. Sweet.
But it was a fun time. So yeah, I mean, we had our Disney parks experience, had our Galaxy's Edge time, got to ride the Millennium Falcon ride again, which was fantastic. It's always fun.
Is it still, Nick, still the same type of crowds, or is it thinned out quite a bit over the years now?
The crowds in Galaxy's Edge are still pretty big. Yeah. And it was actually, kind of funny because, this was our friends, our couple friends' first time going to Disney, either in a while, like 20 plus years, or since they were children. And they were like super impressed with everything. They had a fantastic time. But once we got into Galaxy's Edge, Galaxy's Edge is kind of chaotic in terms of there's really not a lot of lines for some of the other attractions. Like when we were doing the Savvy's Workshop build, there was just a lot of confusion. A lady came up to me 4 different times and was like, "Oh yeah, did you check in? Okay, just wait here. Did you check in? Just wait here." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm checked in. I'm just waiting."
This is what Disney's known for. I mean, what the fuck has happened?
Yeah, I don't know. And it was only in the Galaxy's Edge section. I don't know if there were just some new people that were in
Bob
training
Iger.
And stuff.
You son of a bitch. Hey, what's going on at the Star Cruiser? Are they tearing it down, or are they gutting it out? What do you? I mean, I'm assuming you could still see it there.
So the way that the Star Cruiser had functioned prior was that it was kind of shunted towards the back of Galaxy's Edge, and you really didn't see the hotel itself. There was just an entrance that led from the hotel directly into Galaxy's Edge. What's weird about it is that on the way to and from the airport, there were still billboards up advertising the Halcyon. So
it's closed. It's done.
I don't know. It was always my thought that you built this thing and it didn't end up, launching the way that you wanted it to. But closing it down is just a terrible idea. It's just a huge lost investment.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what's going on with it. Obviously it's not accessible from the park anymore. But in terms of us seeing anything whether they're tearing something down or how they're using that space, we really couldn't see it from Galaxy's Edge itself.
All right. Well, here's a tip for you from our buddy Bat. Bat is telling us that you can reprogram the crystals.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how. I'm guessing it's a little hacky wacky to get it done, but they can be reprogrammed.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, from what I've read, is like you can buy one crystal and like do whatever hacky stuff that Bat's talking about, and it could one crystal could be all the different colors. Like you could essentially make it to where like you have a red crystal, but like you do some shit to it, and then like you put it in the saber and it's white now or something like that. Right. And that's useful for the holocrons. So like there are 2 holocrons that you can buy in Galaxy's Edge, a light side and a dark side, and depending on what color crystal is in there, you have different people that speak to you through the holocron.
Okay.
So that's how they would really get you to like, oh, we'll buy all the crystals because it's different, voices coming through the holocrons. But if you just do the little hacky thing that Bat's talking about, then you can just get them all with one crystal. You don't have to buy multiple.
Got you. Sir Dork wants you to make your crystal bleed. You can do that after the show. We don't want to see what you do to make crystals bleed, Nick. Here's a good idea from Bango. I kind of like this. They could totally repurpose the Halcyon, put a solid Star Wars themed restaurant in there, put a new ride, put a bar separate from the cantina. I'd like a full on like themed restaurant. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that here's what I can say is like Disney never let space go to waste.
Yeah, it's not like it's just going to turn into a Halloween Party USA store, like you see in strip malls.
So they're definitely going to put something if they don't choose to make reopen the Halcyon as a scaled back version of itself or like another hotel.
Yeah, just don't charge $6,000 for 2 nights, and you could probably open it tomorrow and just say it's the fucking home one.
Yeah, exactly. Like
reframe it to OT and get a realistic price package in Halcyon Part 2. Okay.
Oh yeah, dude. It's just like they could easily do it, but if they don't do that, then assuredly they're gonna make that space either like a ride, like a new ride, which I do think that at this point in Galaxy's Edge, it's time for another ride. Yeah. Because
just the 2, right? Just the 2.
Yeah, it's just Rise of the Resistance and the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which are both fantastic rides. I mean, Rise of the Resistance to this day still blows me away, the immersive, quality of that ride. But you can definitely feel that like people need something else to do there. Like,
give me a roller coaster. Once you knock out
those 2 rides,
Star Wars roller coaster.
Something like that would be great. But the Disney experiences was awesome as usual. We had a fantastic time.
Did you week it? No, this was not this was not Caminita clan time. This was friends. So
yeah, so it was. We went Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, we caught 2 days of rain there, but that didn't really slow us down.
Like full days of rain in Florida, huh?
Yeah,
it's really not a thing, especially around Orlando.
It was like Florida type rain too, where it's like it rains for 40 minutes and then it stops for 10 minutes and then it rains for 40 minutes and it stops for 10. So it was a little weird.
Bango's on fire today. I don't know if he's out on patrol or what, but he's saying I'd love a speeder bike ride. Yeah, kind of like the Tron Light Cycle. Did you try the Tron Light Cycle? Is it at that park or is it
the Tron? So that one's at Magic Kingdom, and the Tron Light Cycle ride may be one of my favorite rides now, just because of how you sit in it.
Yeah,
like. The ride,
you're not one of those people that's too fat for it, right?
No. But even if you are, and this is what I found out, so like
lose weight. Like if you can't get on fucking rides, you have a problem.
Yeah, like that should be enough.
That's a sign.
Like, maybe I should lose some poundage.
I'm tired of this shit. Like this. Oh, hey, body positivity. It's not healthy to be obese. All right, you don't have to go around making fun of fatzos, but just feel, be who you are, enjoy yourself, love yourself for who you are. Yeah, until you die, because you're gonna have a fucking heart attack. Like, come on. And I can say this, all right? I was an obese motherfucker for most of my life. You can't do it. I used to weigh 230. I weigh like 135 now. It can be done. You just gotta fucking zip your mouth shut and work out a little bit. Quit sitting around like, it's genetic.
For those people who are a little too large for the actual bike seat, there's one coaster now, like because you have multiple coasters that run simultaneously on Tron. There's one coaster, I believe, that has 2 seats in the very back that are like handicap accessible seats. So if you were an elderly person that wanted to ride the ride, but obviously, you can't get into that position, those seats are for you. But they also do put like obese people in those seats too. So and those just sit straight up like a regular roller coaster seat, where all the rest of them, it really is like you're leaning down, like you pull the thing forward to like engage your back restraint, and you're leaned over the whole ride like you're on a crotch rocket motorcycle. And it was so sick. Like, it was a really, really fun experience. I got to ride it twice. And I also got to ride the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride twice too. Both of them were
you
really
guys doing
top-notch experiences.
Reservations or through the app, or the lines were just not bad?
So for those 2 rides, for Tron and for Guardians, there is no line. Like, you can't just walk up to the ride and get in line. There are virtual queues that open at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. So essentially, like at 7 a.m., you get on the app, you're like, okay, get in virtual queue. And then it just tells you what time to come back. So you can just go throughout the rest of your day and do whatever else you want to do. And then you'll get an alert when it's time for you to go back and ride the particular ride. So that's how we did Tron and Guardians. And then the only day where we actually like did the Genie Plus, like, pay for the lightning lane for the day was when we were in Hollywood Studios.
Got you.
So we were able to use that for like, for Rise of the Resistance, for the Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. And then obviously in Hollywood Studios, you have the whole Toy Story section. So we did use it for those rides. We got to do it for Tower of Terror. So that was the one park where we really felt like there was so much to do that we needed to like pay. I think it's like $20 for the day to get the lightning lane access to all the rides.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
see,
so
you're actually spending your money on and making experiences. I choose to keep pissing mine away on plastic dolls that literally just pile up in their boxes next to my desk, like Reva right here, who just got joined by Cobb Vanth yesterday. So he's looking good in his box too. But right there, Nick, that's like a fucking trip to Disney.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's crazy. Bango must be a Disney guy too, because this is another secret that I know about as well. He's like, you can ask to sit in the front row for like these new rides. And basically what they do is like, okay, yeah, you just stand here. When the next one comes around, we'll put you in the front. We did do that. We did get a front row ride, Bango as well. So we did that, and it was fantastic.
Like Tron ride is anti-Lizzo. I love Lizzo. Like, hey, don't get me wrong. Life is life. Like, you can't tell me that being obese is healthy. Like, if you feel good and you're like, hey, I look good looking like Jabba the Hutt, good for you. You're still gonna fucking die. All right, stop it. Like there's like a thing out there, Nick. I guess it's like fat people influencers where they brag about how much they eat and whatnot, and most of them typically die by the time they reach their mid-30s. So, yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like it's just a health thing, and it's also like it's just harder to get around and stuff like that. Like, I've never been a person who ballooned to extreme. I think my highest weight was 205, which I was at when I was like in my like early 20s, because I was just like a deviant that was just like out drinking all the time, like didn't give a shit about anything. And then after that, I think like right now I'm like 185. I really want to get down to like 175.
No, it's literally been my entire life. I'll never, like, fourth grade is when I realized, like, hey, I'm a lot fatter than my friends are. They have flat stomachs, and mine's just getting doughier and doughier. And I've been fucked up ever since. Yeah, it's good. It's good mental. It's good for your mental health. It took me till about 36 to get shit under control.
Disney, I will tell you this, like, Disney is a great way to lose weight.
Yeah, a lot of walking.
All right, so we were there for essentially 4.5 days. Or like, because we got there on Monday. We were able to get. I bet you did
at least 30 miles.
I did 56 miles.
Oh my God, jeez.
Between Monday and Friday.
So were you walking to the other parks, or were you catching the shuttles?
No, it was like we catch the bus to the parks and stuff like that. But like we averaged 11 miles a day.
Yeah, that's legit.
So like, It was, I mean, like you're walking around, and if you don't like stop and get the burgers and stuff like that, like even if you stop and get a burger in the park, like you're still walking 11 miles in the day.
Yeah,
you'll
be
off.
Okay. You'll be okay.
But like there are like healthier food options and stuff like that. Like we were in Animal Kingdom, and there's this restaurant in like a quick service restaurant in the Pandora section, like the Avatar world.
I've heard that's a kick-ass ride too.
That one is really cool. The Pandora Flight of Passage is really fun. It's similar to how you sit in the Tron seats, and it's like this big, huge screen simulator where you're like diving, like you're on a Banshee and you're flying throughout the world of Pandora. That is a really cool immersive ride as well.
Sir Dork's like me. He's never been to Disney. My first Disney trip, I was 39 years old. It was right before the pandemic. Like we were there March 20. Like right before everything shut down. Yeah. That was my first official trip. Or maybe I was 38. Either way, it's all right, Jared. It's okay. Yeah. Look how well adjusted I am as a human because I never went to Disney as a kid. It turns out all right. You'll be okay.
Yeah. Now the crew that we went with this time is like, we got to go to all the Disney parks in the world because.
There you go. This is what you do when you're a dink, right, Nick? This is the dual income, no kid life. I can't even remember what that life is like. Shit.
So I've actually never been to Disney California. So we have to do Disney California. Goals. I've been to Disney Paris, so that was good. Taylor really wants to go to Disney Shanghai because Shanghai is the newest one. It opened in 2016. So it's got like
Disney.
A bunch of the new ones. There's also Disney Hong Kong. There's also Disneyland Tokyo. So
is Paris still open?
Yeah, so we actually went to Disney Paris when we went to Paris a few years ago or 2 years ago. And that one was cool. Their Space Mountain is Star Wars themed, so that was awesome. It was called Hyperspace Mountain, so it was really
Bango's
fun.
Calling for a field trip, Star Wars time Disney trip.
Yeah,
all right, get it organized. I'll be there.
But yeah, so that was my Disney trip overview. Got my fun Star Wars time in. Got to ride the new Tron ride and Guardians ride, and those were definitely both worth the waits. And then got my new Disney Park Saber, and finally, after 4 years, got the Revan Saber. There we go.
All right, young Nick is back. We're all caught up. You didn't miss much here. I mean, your first week out, I had Connor on from Beyond the Dune Sea, and he is much younger than I thought. He's even younger than young Nick. I mean, this dude is in his 20s. But it was fun. It was a good talk. I'm actually going to be on their show this Friday, Nick. I don't know what I don't know if they know what they're getting into, but they've invited me to join their stream Friday for a hot take show. And I'm like, Connor, me and hot takes and Star Wars, you sure? And he said, yes, definitely. That's why we want
That's
you.
all the show used to be.
I know.
Like, if just go back and listen to old
just Matt going,
of Star Wars. I think
he's like, we operate PG. I go, oh man, not even PG-13, so I can't even get away with one fuck.
These are going to be like lukewarm takes then.
I'm gonna like have to put on professor mode, and even professor mode sometimes like the shits and asses still fly out. But I think shit and ass would still satisfy a PG rating. I know I can't say fuck.
Connor, the rant that I went on the episode before I left, because that was just me spilling hot takes all over.
We talked about it. I was like, I think I'm rubbing too much off on young Nick because he's starting to turn into an angry old curmudgeon just like me. But that was good. It was good. So we'll see how I do on Beyond the Dune Sea this weekend. I'm excited for that. But really, the big news you missed is something you've been kind of talking about. We don't have to hash time on it, but you're getting your Mandalorian movie, and we still haven't figured out if it's going to fully replace season 4 or kind of be a companion piece or a pivot to a movie trilogy. But as you have been speculating about Star Wars on TV, these are the decisions that may have to start happening to kind of energize the fan base again, try a new medium, get butts and seats, and try to revitalize some of the Star Wars stuff. I mean, we think it's mostly meddling that this has taken place. Remember, we talked about this months ago when Making Star Wars hinted that this could be a possibility. We just can't. We haven't been able to figure out what's what yet. No one truly knows if Mando and Grogu is going to be it, or if we will still get more Mandalorian TV content.
Yeah, I mean, and what it comes down to is that like they can put, like, when a movie comes out, you can put an attribute, like an attributable number to how it does. You can say like, we put this movie out, it cost us $250 million to make, and it made $600 million. So with blah, 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 and all this stuff, we made $100 million or whatever. And on TV, like on streaming, it's just way harder to attribute that. So essentially what's going to happen is they're going to be like, okay, instead of doing Mandalorian season 4, if that's the choice that they make, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the movie. We're going to see we made this much money from it. And then this is what's going to happen. They're going to look at their sub decreases on Disney Plus. They'd be like, how many subs did we lose? Because there's no new season of Mandalorian. And does that amount of sub loss, is that offset by the amount of money that we made from the movie? And like, that is how they will figure out what's better, doing a movie or having another season of TV. Or that's what they should be doing. But yeah, when I saw that, not a surprise.
Last week, I was kind of rehashing some of the thought out there, some of the rumors, and it's either going to be, like you said, just, hey, the movie replaces season 4, everyone go fuck yourselves. The other thing, kind of what you're saying here, we're do the movie. If it makes some cash, they're going to turn it into a trilogy. So that movie, Dave's planned movie, and then an unannounced movie. And then the other one would be Mandalorian season 4 goes episodes 1 through 6. The movie serves as the finale.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting way to handle it.
That would be my preference. What about you? How would you like this to play out?
Just in terms of like a content side, I think that would be really awesome, because then you don't lose the long form content that you're used to getting in the Mandoverse, and you get like an awesome, like, close to it.
Yeah, like a punch to end it. I mean, I think it'd be freaking awesome. And I would even do it, Nick, where you give us the first 6 episodes and you make us wait like 4 months.
Yeah.
To really build up interest and anticipation to see how things finish.
I think that would be like, if money wasn't an option, I think that would be the obvious best way to do it. But it's really hard for me to see a world where they're cutting back on spending on digital properties, like digital properties being streaming stuff, but they still, not only do they do like a half a season of TV, which is still probably cost them $100 million, but then they also do full production budget on a whole movie.
Right.
So I just don't know like what their financial situation is and like how much money they're willing to spend on it. But I do think that what you recommended would be really awesome.
And sadly, because of real life, it's probably the most unrealistic.
Which sucks.
But I mean, the other news that you missed that came out with that is just a little nugget at the end of that post. But Ahsoka season 2 is official. It's been greenlit.
Yeah.
Dave's already put out the first bit of concept art with Ahsoka and Sabine standing on the hand of the father. So he's already teasing like, yep, they're getting right to it. You and I, at the end of Ahsoka, we spent a few weeks kind of pitching what we should see in season 2. And it looks like Dave, as usual, has listened and is taking some notes from the show.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, to give Dave Filoni ideas, because clearly we need to provide those.
Right. We try not to, we just try not to talk about it too much, because we don't want to come off as arrogant and cocky.
Disney told us that we're on the payroll as consultants, but only if we don't tell anybody. Correct. So just keep it quiet, and then everything that you want from this show will make its way onto a screen.
And they're paying us in XRP. A very low value crypto.
We get 1 XRP coin per idea, which is essentially like 0.0 cents.
Like 1/1,000,000th of a coin. All right, sweet. Well, good to have you back. I don't have much. I mean, I was here last week and talked for way too long. I will say, for fellow collectors and geeks out there, for the first time ever, I dove headfirst into the Lego Star Wars helmets. This is a line I have avoided like the plague, Nick, because I kind of had an idea of what it would do if I got one, but my dear mother got me one, and I finally built it. It's the Din head. And I'm holding it up here on the stream. And after I was done building it, as I feared, the collector brain kicked in and it said, I got to have them all now.
Oh,
and it's been really years since they've come out. So there's lines you can't get anymore. Like the Vader head's 80, the Stormtrooper head's like 150, and these things should only be about $60. So as usual, I'm finding myself, I tried to do the right thing over all these years when the Lego helmets came out. My mom kind of gave me that hit of crack. and like a good crackhead, I'm like, yeah, I got to get them all. They're great little pieces, though. I mean, look at that thing. It's a nice little display Lego, if anything. You know, it
looks awesome. Yeah, it really does.
They're fun builds. They're about 500 to 600 pieces, 5 bags, so it's not like it doesn't take up a full day. You can do it while you're watching playoff football or something. But yeah, Jared's right. Oh, a new thing to start, and that's exactly what happened, and that's why I had been avoiding him, because I know me. And I had a feeling once I got one out and built, I'd be like, oh, yeah. Well, I'm like, I got to have the Rex one. I want the Cody. I want the Vader. I want the fucking Infinity Gauntlet. Why not? Let's cross it over into a whole other franchise at this point in time. So that and some bad news, or you all probably find it funny and just be like, yeah, that guy, the universe does not like him. But last week, because I'm a fucking dipshit, back it up a little bit, I installed some Elgato strip lights in the basement, Nick. So I got them around my desk now to spruce up the streams, and I put them behind my TV because I kind of like that ambiance, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm an idiot, and for some reason I'm like, oh, I'm just going to stick them to the back of the TV. So I stick it on there, and lo and behold, by the next day, it's starting to peel off. So I'm sitting there, and every day, I'm in the morning, it becomes like a new routine. I have to re-stick this fucking light up. So last Wednesday, I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm going to go get some Gorilla Glue, and I'm going to glue this fucker to the TV, all right?
Yeah, yep.
So I start doing that process. Gorilla Glue's not sticking, so I'm putting a little more pressure on there, a little more pressure. All while not realizing the pad of my hand was
like resting on the screen?
On the panel, yes. Not on the frame. So
yeah.
Matt broke a 3-year-old 75-inch TV fucking with a light strip last week.
Oh,
yeah.
That's rough.
And Nick, that's after spending buku bucks at Best Buy over the break to upgrade the system, install a NAS. And me being me, as soon as I broke the TV, I knew that I was going to have a new TV by the end of the day. Like there's no, I'm going to go look for my warranty, or I'm going to go try to get this repaired. Life is going to end if I don't get this fixed today. Like my brain just can't handle that shit. So I now have $2,500 more added to my Best Buy credit card, 0 APR. Thank you. And it got me, this is the good part, a 77-inch Samsung OLED. Holy shit. Is that a screen? Do you have OLED? Because I'm new to this, and where the fuck have I been?
I have the one that I have behind me is a mini LED TV, and that one is really nice. I'm not sure, because we have the Samsung frame in the living room, and I don't think that one's OLED, but I'm not sure.
I don't even know what the fuck the O stands for. I usually know this shit, but OLED is greater than LED. It's not even close, man. I mean, it almost looks like smartphone or tablet quality screen, like that clarity, but 77 inches. And then like all the game mode shit, holy fuck. So bad news turned into good. The problem is I now have a $300 a month Best Buy bill to pay off that credit card in 2 years. And I can't buy anything new because I've essentially maxed out my credit line there. And yeah, I could get more credit. I don't. Every time you ask for credit, it pings your goddamn rating. Exactly. So it is what it is. It doesn't look like I'm getting the Apple Vision Pro anytime soon.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not getting that. There's no way I'm paying $3,500 to have a.
But you know they're gonna be fucking badass. You know it. I've read early shit out of CES.
I don't like stuff like that. I'll just put it like, even if Samsung came out with one, I wouldn't buy it because I just don't like stuff like that. I don't like shit that's attached to my face, that has wires running from my head, that's got a fucking battery pack on it, and especially not one that literally all it's doing is putting a TV screen in front of my eyes.
No, it gives us that heads-up display in real life. I mean, you can control everything like your eyes. I mean, it's Star Trek shit. So I don't know. I read early reviews out of CES, and they're like, yeah, Apple finally, after it feels like decades, has done it again, and it's like, good, because it's about time. It's been since the fucking iPad since this company has been Apple. Steve Jobs, please come back to life.
Yeah, I mean, Apple has definitely been shit for a long time. So I'm glad that they finally made something that may be worth purchasing, but not for $4,000.
Ain't gonna happen these days because I kind of pissed that my tech wad away. I try every 3 years or so to have a full Best Buy credit card balance so I can just go in and refresh the house, if you know what I mean. And that's the beauty of 0% APR, people. Never let yourself feel bad about it. I mean, that's the layaway option on Sideshow. I live with payment plans, and I technically don't have to, but if you can, why not? It's better to slowly pay the man instead of just dump out those large wads right at once. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, that's the only reason that I bought the truck that I have now is because when I got it, I qualified for 0% financing.
Damn
so I was
straight.
like, yep.
Damn, on a vehicle?
Yeah.
Holy shit. You should have bought two. That's amazing. No, 0% on a vehicle. That's unheard of.
It was something that Chevy was doing in early 2021 or 2022. I think it was early 2022. And it was like, well qualified buyers get 0% APR. And I was like, well, if I'm qualified, then I'm getting it, because that was when I still had my Camaro, my black Camaro, and we just needed a bigger vehicle to, like, you know, we're moving. It was nice to have a truck to have stuff to be able to move stuff back and forth. So I was like, I'll trade in the Camaro. If I get 0% APR on this truck, then it's a win for me. And I did. And then because I had 0% APR, I got the full extended 10-year warranty, and it was only like an extra $20 a month or something like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So
yeah, I mean, I'm one of those slapdicks. Like, if there's get the super duper package. Like, okay, it said super duper, so why not? Might as well get it. All right, well, it's been about 45 minutes. I guess we should talk some Star Wars here before we get into Bad Batch, because we got dumped on. I mean, they're just like, fuck it, who cares? Here's the trailer. Here's the release date. Here's all the episodes and the titles. Have fun, series finale. We're done. It's just like there's no build up. There's not going to probably be any more trailers outside of some TV spots at this point, because it's a month away from debuting. But before we get there, I do want to put to bed last week's bit, as promised here. I'm going to pay off all my teas. I went through and recapped our top moments from the Mandoverse area. So Mandalorian, Book of Boba, Ahsoka, that type of jazz. But we did not identify our personal top 5 because Nick was not here. So at this point in time, now that young Nick has graced us with his presence, we're going to put this one to sleep with the top 5. Nick, you got reduced to a top 4 because, like our fans, you did not pay attention to the timeline and you picked Andor. So that one got whacked. But he did have, he had
an Andor.
Yeah, and it was, you had the Andor prison escape, which surprised me because you typically hate that moment. So
where did I write that?
I shit you not, man. I'll show you right here.
Favorite TV scenes.
Yeah, it's in there.
But I don't have. It's Luke Hallway, WBW, Mando season 1 ending, Ahsoka versus Balin on Cetos, Kenobi versus Vader V2.
Oh. Well, maybe it was dyslexia. So, all right. Well, the Kenobi versus Vader is what got cut because it still didn't follow the rules. So,
okay. I guess Kenobi's not Mandoverse timeline.
Either way, you failed. But real quick, now that I said that, did you see what Netflix bought today? For I think $10 billion.
No, what did they buy?
Raw, WWE Raw.
Oh wow! I mean, it is a very popular thing, and it was on Peacock, right?
I think, yeah. So they're switching stream. I mean, dude, Netflix, they are the king, and they're just whipping that big dick out at this point.
Dude, that's what I said. Like, if go back 3 months.
No, it's all coming. Like everything you said, Netflix has done. They've bought everyone else's library. I mean, Netflix is essentially backup HBO. They have all the Warner Brothers content, all HBO's originals now. They're buying WWE content. It's insane. I don't. It was either 5 or 10 billion. Maybe it's 5 billion for 10 years. It's one of those. Like I said, I'm stupid. A little dyslexia coming in, but yeah. Sorry. I knew you'd appreciate that because it's another notch.
Every time I open up Netflix now, I'm like, oh, look at that, another HBO show. Oh, look, this one of the top rated TV shows on Netflix is called School Spirits, and that was a Paramount Plus original that they licensed from Paramount Plus. It's not even their own shit. Like,
oh man, good for them. Because remember, they were the first ones to go, oh shit, we just had a massive exodus, and they clearly had a plan. You know, they brought in the streaming with ads, they locked down the sharing passwords, and they just started buying a bunch of content, and that's why they're number one. I mean,
it's nuts. Like, I saw it happen. Like, I remember the first time I opened up Netflix, I was like, look at all this HBO shit on here. Damn, like they're really going all out. And then like every time I open it, there's another show on there from another streaming service that they license. I was like,
I think they win. They're going to be one of the three standing. I think it'll be a combination of Apple, Disney as two. Who do you think will be three? Because it's the rule of three. It's common business in capitalism. Any type of business, in the end, you're going to have three big dogs
three market leaders.
in a market. So clearly, Netflix is its own. I do think Apple and Disney eventually are gonna. Apple's probably gonna buy Disney Plus or something like that. There's been a lot of smoke around that, a lot of talk. They seem like good partners. So like Apple TV Plus and Disney just become a network.
Yeah. And I think the third one is probably going to be Max, because they don't have, like, Paramount Plus and Showtime and Peacock don't have the library necessary to sustain themselves off of it. Like, really what's keeping Paramount Plus alive is all the Star Trek shit. Like that's really what's kind of sustaining that source over there. And then Peacock, I don't know why people have Peacock. Like, I really don't understand how that service is still alive. Like, I know they did
because the NFL forces people to watch playoff games on it now.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And,
like, I know
and
that
Ohio State football, like this fall. Luckily for the intern, he had Peacock, so I'm siphoning, but. They put a Buckeye game on Peacock this fall. Yeah. So that's how they're selling subs.
Yeah. And like Paramount Plus has CBS NFL games on there too. So like that's kind of what's keeping those around. But I do think it'll end up being Max, because Max is already has like a deep content library under it just from HBO and all of the properties that they acquired. Like Ghibli's on there.
They still have good programming too. Last of Us, House of Dragon, all that shit. So
yeah, so
you're right. You're right.
We'll see.
Okay, sorry, another tangent there. I'm excited. Nick's back. Although I was trying to keep the show somewhat slim, so I got to get focused here. Here we go. All right, Nick. So your top four here, I believe your number 4 was the battle between Baylan and Ahsoka on Cetos.
Yes, Baylan and Ahsoka on Cetos, because that was really the battle in that show that made me fall in love with Baylan as a character. Like, Baylan was already pretty cool leading up to it, but like I think it was that moment that really like turned him into a transcendent type of Star Wars character.
Bat said Peacock has Fast X. Come on, Nick. Come on, man. They got the Fast and the Furious, bro.
You're right. I forgot about that.
And honestly, I'm telling you, I think you channeled a little Baylan skull when you were building your most recent Savvy's Workshop.
It does,
saber, for sure.
It may have been like a completely unconscious thing, but it does feel like a Baylan saber. For sure.
You got to freak your crystal and get that shit to turn orange.
Yeah.
All right. So your number 3 then, Nick, was the meeting of Mando and Grogu for the first time.
Yeah, I mean...
the climax of S1E1.
Yeah, S1E1 ending. I mean, that not only was it like the moment where, he finds Grogu, but it was also the moment that we were introduced to IG-11. I mean, like, that's when IG-11 is like at that same base, like
going ape. Yeah. Like we get to see the IG droids, why they're so dangerous.
Yeah. So like it was awesome to see that. And it was also awesome just to finally get like essentially what has dominated Star Wars pop culture and Star Wars content creation since he was introduced in this episode. And that's Grogu, like this mystery around this baby Yoda. And, what is it now? 5 years on from when it was introduced, he's still a mystery. Like there's still so much mystery around this character.
We're only up to him being on a Naboo ship with Keller and Beck. That's as much as we know. So
the fact that they have been able to sustain the mystery around this character after being in as much content as Grogu's been and it's been a really fun journey to follow along with. So that was really
it's
awesome.
Also just one of those like overall Star Wars moments that most fans are going to never forget, because it was such a surprise. Like, shit, there's a baby Yoda. All right. Nick's number 2 then is the World Between Worlds episode. So Vader / Anakin and Ahsoka, the lesson.
Yeah, I think that was obviously, like, we all knew it was coming in some form or fashion. We knew that there was going to be some sort of interaction between Ahsoka and Anakin. We had speculated with like high accuracy that it was going to be in the World Between Worlds, just because of Ahsoka's history with the World Between Worlds with Ezra from Rebels, and then just like the way that they did it and essentially doing like a live action recap of Clone Wars, Clone Wars and all of the, things that happened with Ahsoka and Anakin through that show, through the World Between Worlds, and then really seeing Anakin, not Anakin, but like really seeing Hayden like play Vader to the best that we've ever seen him, play both Anakin and Vader to the best that he's ever done so far.
Got him his SAG card back, bro.
Yeah, I mean, was a real treat. And then, it really reinvigorated his desire to act again, which is fantastic considering that Star Wars is what killed his desire to act in the first place.
Yep.
So
it hit the full circle moment, as Star Wars is known for.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously that was a super special moment and one that'll probably like live in the minds of hardcore Star Wars fans. And fans of the cartoon series and fans of the character of Ahsoka for sure will live in their memories for a while.
Looking at this shot here, Nick, we're seeing Hayden as what I would call Vader, because he's got his yellow eyes in.
Right, yeah.
But do you think fans would go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if they released a red bladed Skywalker hilt? Like the Skywalker family blade with the red, like we see here?
I mean, I think it would be really popular.
Or interchangeable, right? You could pop in the red or pop in the blue, but you'd essentially have the World Between Worlds Anakin saber. I think that'd be.
So what they should do is on this saber, on the Revan saber that I just got, you can't see it now because you can only see it when the blade is attached to it, but you can change the color. So like it will ignite.
Let's do that.
Yeah, like you can, like without having to change a crystal out or anything like that, it will ignite both red and purple.
Okay.
So you can just like hit, like there's 2 buttons on it. If you hit the green button to turn it on, it'll be red. And then if you hit the green and red button at the same time, it'll change it to purple. So you can switch between them.
I'll take it. But yeah, it is. It's one of the most classic lightsaber hilts out there. And, he obviously modified it a bit when he made Darth Vader's saber. It's just got that iconic look. But I know fans, at least nuts like me, be like, "Oh yeah, I got the World Between Worlds version. Check this shit out, bro!" Ching! And my eyes turn yellow, and I start beating up little girls. All right,
but no, yeah, it was that moment overall was, I mean, obviously something that we've been waiting for as Star Wars fans since. I mean, the live action Ahsoka show was announced, and the fact that Hayden was coming back, we're like, okay, well, this has to happen, and they did a fantastic job with it for sure.
Yeah, and probably gonna see him again as this version of Anakin / Vader now that Ahsoka season 2 has been greenlit. So that's awesome. Let's get him in all sorts of shit. Why not? Let's go. Come on, Bob. Come on, Kathy. All right. And Nick's number 1, his top moment from the Mandoverse era of live action Star Wars is Luke's rescue, Mando S2E8.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to not have this as your top.
Yeah,
but it's also arguably the moment that really fucking like put the Mandoverse in a weird spot, because now like, well, now Luke's around, so why isn't Luke around more often? But I mean, it was just so well executed, for lack of a better term. I mean, like he comes in, see Red 5, lands, like the whole scene just from the moment he gets on the light cruiser until he exits that hallway and then enters the bridge of the ship and has this conversation with Din and with Grogu. Like, it was just like pure Star Wars geek joy as soon as that lightsaber emitted and he started to cut down all those dark troopers. I mean, it was unbeatable. It was so cool to see, and obviously it's had some, arguably negative ramifications on the Mandoverse since then, but like it was such an amazing thing to see Luke Skywalker back on the screen, and people bitched about like, oh well, you can see the pixels in his face and stuff. It's like, I don't give a fuck, man. It was just so well done that like I don't care if you can tell that his face was de-aged. Like, of course it was. Mark Hamill's fucking 70-something years old. They're gonna have to de-age him. So
did you see he got to meet Natalie for the first time, his mother?
I did see that. Yeah. It was at like the Emmys party or something, Golden Globes party, one of them. Yeah,
he's a social media pro, although I know he upsets a lot of people. So all right. Yeah, I mean, listen, this Luke's rescue in Mandalorian, to me, hell, I'm about ready to write this down because this is another rainy day special topic, but it's one of it could be one of the top 5 most emotional moments in Star Wars for a fan, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm writing that down. Top emotional moments in Star Wars. Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I mean, for me, Return of the Jedi, the throne room battle, that melts me to this day because of the shit I have with my dad and how I project that relationship there. This one hits too. Like, it's more of the Luke moment is more of like nostalgia feels and just to feel good. Kind of like when you listen to music and you're reminded of something in your past. That's what this scene does for me. I guess they all do, but I'm trying to think other ones that just Kanan's death is another one that fucking wrecks me. That's up there. That's another one. Most impactful character death.
Yeah.
Like where they actually die. Kanan probably wins that, but
yeah. And like with Jedi, it's always hard because, like, yeah, you're dead, but like we all know you're gonna be back in your fucking blue suit and talking to us like normal anyway. So like, yeah, there's a ton of them. I mean, like Han Solo at the end of TFA. I think that was a very emotional death. And
I'm dumb as shit, Nick. We started this one when you were here 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Like in terms of deaths, okay?
Yeah.
So I have that. I'm dumb. This is what, Token the MJ does to you here. But top emotional moments we can leave in. All right. Thank you. What an idiot. I mean,
look, one of my like it's gonna sound bad, but like one of the movie moments that always gets me emotionally is in Tross, and it's at the end, and it's the end game moment. Like
all the ships show up.
Yeah, it's like everything's falling to shit. Like everybody's like, people are fucking dying. All the ships are being electrocuted out of the sky, and then the fleet pops in, and like that's the same moment. Like I cried at that moment, and I cried in Endgame when the Avengers assemble with all the portals opened up. Like that hit me emotionally too.
You're right. And the Tross scene, I would say it cheats a little bit because it uses a classic Williams theme. It's it's like the so you're already gonna get that Pavlonian reaction if you're a fanboy and just be like, oh,
dude, it was just like,
there they are, Wedge. The ghost.
For me, I don't know. Like some people have things that like trigger them to cry in like films or piece of content or whatever. Mine is like when like the chips are down and shit like that, and everybody everybody shows up.
Right.
It's like
Nick
that's
loves
the moment that
the cavalry coming in. He's a cavalry guy.
Yeah. Friends helping friends.
Yeah, these days for me, it's a guarantee if it deals anything with like family stuff, like dad and kid. It just, especially if it's dad and girl, I did almost too many feels for this bald-headed, bearded man. All right, so there you go. There's Nick's 4. I'll rifle through mine real quick because you poor schlubs had to listen to me talk for 2 hours last week on this shit. My number 5, I'm going with Boba Fett's tribal dance. The Tusken Haka. Just loved it. Like I said last week, tune in last week's episode to get all my thoughts on that. Next up, number 4 for me is Boba Fett's triumphant return on Tython, when, for me personally, he shed the title of the bozo and became the true Boba that the rest of you assholes were telling me he was. Number 3, like Nick, I had Anakin's WBW episode, pretty much the whole damn thing, but in terms of the scene when he comes back and really resonates with Ahsoka, what he's trying to get her to figure out. Number 2 for me is S1E1 Mando, the meeting of father and green son. And then just like Nick, it's undeniable. It can't go anywhere else. Luke's rescue, Mando S2E8. It just, you can't avoid it. It's so hard.
It's so hard to like justifiably be like, well, that's like a number 3. Like, right. I don't, it's like, no, come on. It's the guy.
It's one of those things. It's almost like and I hate to use this example, but it's like a 9/11 where you know where you were at, you know what you were doing, you know what you're feeling when you watch this scene. So
yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, it really defined like what this universe could be. I think is what it was for me, because it was like leading up to that, we're like, okay, we're playing with characters that are, TV show characters, like we're playing with, cartoon characters that have now made their way into live action, but like how much are they willing to do? And when they were like, oh, how much are we willing to do? Luke fucking Skywalker, live action, chopping people up. Like, we're not going to hide his face the whole time. He's going to talk. He's going to be Luke. Then you're like, oh shit, like anything is possible now.
Dude, you remember it's the week before, my fat ass was sitting here like, blah, blah, they'll never do this. Yeah. I'll suck my own dick if Luke shows up in Mandalorian. And I wish I couldn't, but I did sit there and smack myself around because I was making some big claims out there, kind of like Chris Russo just did a few months ago with the World Series. And if you're a Pittsburgher, there was an announcer way back when, I think they're playing the Phillies, and he's like, hey, if they come back and win, I'll walk home. And he did. He walked home from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, forget his name, but it was kind of a famous story when I was growing up. But yeah, it just like, I was so not expecting them to kind of open Pandora's box, and they did, and here we are, and it's great. But it also, as Nick has mentioned previously, it's introduced some narrative concerns, because in the end you could just be like, well, hey, Thrawn's here, all right, call Luke. Hey, the Abeloth's here, all right, call Luke. Hey, the First Order's rising, call Luke.
Yeah, it's, and we'll see. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of content to come for the Mandoverse, and I really do hope that that John and Dave at least attempt to explain some of that, because it is, like you said, it's now the question is like, well, the guy came here to take this little baby Yoda off this ship, but like when the whole galaxy is at risk of being destroyed, he's just somewhere else. Like,
dude,
he's just,
I mean, if you really think about it, think about why Luke punished himself. Because of Kylo, he's like, well, I let the dark side back into the galaxy. It's like, hey, bro, for like 2 decades, you let the First Order rise on your watch. Like, you so fucked up like 10 years after you won. So what are you talking about? Come on.
Got some definite Luke Skywalker cherry picking happening there, but there's still, like I said, there's still time. There's still the possibility that we could see Luke come back in this Mandoverse. If he's not in, here's what I'll say: if he's not in the Mandoverse crossover movie, what the fuck are you doing?
That'd be pretty suspect. Would you want him? I think Connor brought this up. Would you want him recast at this point if he makes the movie? Like, just fucking pull the Band-Aid off?
Just do Sebastian Stan. Yeah. Like, here's my issue with that is like, Mark Hamill has already blessed it. Mark Hamill's already been like,
yeah. Like, I know. I wonder if, because KK made that brazen statement like, hey, we're never gonna recast our legacy people, because she was essentially banging on Alden Ehrenreich for being Solo. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. We got over it. I mean, the fans. Yeah, I mean, we can do it.
I don't like. In my opinion, if the person that you're recasting is still alive, like, you should get their blessing to do it. And 2, if you're gonna do it, like, just make sure that you're casting quality people. Like, I don't think that anybody has a problem with Sebastian Stan playing Luke Skywalker because he's a quality actor. We've seen him in things that prove his quality, and the look is almost identical. So like, we don't have a problem with it. But
dude, I'd be fine with his body double from Mandalore or Book of Boba Fett. I mean, he again looks just like Mark Hamill, and he's a no-name. Yeah, even so better.
Like, just. Like realistically, like what I would like is for them to stop making stuff where they have to recast, old parts and like start to build out new areas.
New Star Wars stories, Nick. What are you smoking crack, dude? Come on.
I must be.
Why would we ever do that?
But yeah, I mean,
it's a galaxy, Nick, but it's a very, very, very minute galaxy.
Yeah, it's like a galaxy the size of like North Texas,
and it's nothing but sand. Yeah. It's either brown or black.
Yeah, it's sand or it's snow. There's no in between. That's all you get.
Maybe a planet full of buildings. That's about it. There is no landscape. It's either all buildings, sand, snow, or black volcanic dust.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think if the crossover movie comes and they're going to put Luke in it, I would really like to see them cast an actual actor that will be like, okay, if Luke is in anything from here on out, this is the person that will play him, because it just gives you more opportunity to, like, you don't have to work within the constraints of like, well, is this going to look weird because his face has to be done? And
would you now, Nick, if they did the recast, would you want them to use voice AI to make it sound like Mark's, or just full recast?
Just full recast. Just make it happen. And like, hey, just, like, that's why I would say like pick an actor that can do like some sort of like voice modulation on their own to try to make their voice sound a little bit like Mark if they can. But here's the thing, like, yeah, Mark can do voice dub now, but if you plan on using Luke for a long time, like in Mark Passes, he is assuredly not going to give you. That's the beauty
of AI, though. They don't.
He's not going to give them he's not going to give them the rights to do that. I think now they have to.
I think because it was recorded back in the 70s and he was paid for it, they actually own the recording. So I think they can train models to mimic his voice.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then
AI, we're all gonna die. Speaking of AI, this motherfucker Connor, I'm gonna knock him out. Like, I'm not a guy to introduce new tech to because I have OCD with it, where I got to figure out what every damn button does. And I'm like, hey, dude, your content's very well done. What are you using? And he's just like, oh, it's CapCut. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's like, holy shit. Why haven't I been using this? I mean, you don't even need a brain. I could start whipping out good memes in 2 seconds. It's all done for you. But
I mean, I use CapCut for video editing, but it's only for like clients that like I have to do like I only do like really simple shit in CapCut Video Editor, but I don't know like the full capability of
it. I probably burned 2 hours of life I didn't need to burn today going through CapCut trying to master it. I mean, it's got so much AI infusion. You pretty much can just look at it and think, and it's going to make something.
Yeah. Are you using the phone app, or are you using like the desktop
Just
version?
On phone. I see that there is a desktop now, so who knows? I'm trying not to add a ridiculous workflow to my life that I already don't have a ton of time to make this stupid shit that no one watches, but if I can spice things up a little bit, I don't know, I'm going to dabble for a week or so and see what happens. But I can't be a normal person, just open it and use it what I need for. You know what I mean? Like, are you like that with technology where you really just need it for a purpose, but because it may have 10 other buttons, you're going to spend a lot of time figuring out what those buttons do, or you're fine?
No, I don't. I used to be like that, but not anymore.
Okay.
Like,
well, good for you, because it's a real, like, I do think it's a form of OCD. It's kind of like tapping a door. I can't move on in life until I've either read the full manual or gone through every setting and learn what they can do.
Yeah, no, I used to do that, but like with CapCut, I literally use it as like only the video editor side of it. Like that's all I use, because that's just the purpose that I needed it for.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to try to do, Opus still works for us. I like what it does, because it takes a lot of manual chopping of shit. But I think I'm going to start exporting those and bringing them in the cap cut to maybe, if we're talking about a scene, show it, or, shit you've seen from other people. We'll see. Like I said, it depends on the workflow. I'm not trying to add a ton of extra time to my life because the time I put in the Star Wars Time Show, at least to me, is not returned the way I want it in terms of views, audience, likes. So I ain't going to... Don't worry, Nick. I'm not going off the reservation. All right, man. It's time to get into Bad Batch Season 3. We got the trailer yesterday. So, of course, I ripped some stills to analyze, to look through, to speculate on. But really the big thing coming out of it is the return of Asajj Ventress. Those of you that are into Star Wars words and shit, you know that I don't want to say the word retcon because it's clickbaity right now, because literally the creators came out and say, hey, don't worry, we're handling what happens in Dark Disciples. But I guess Asajj being dead is a retcon, so she's back.
Dude, I love it. on her fucking... So you sent me the link to her.
Oh, they updated it yesterday.
Yeah, it says Ventress's body was later laid to rest in the waters of her clan's village on Dathomir, and this is what they added. However, she lived on during Clone Force 99's struggle against the New Galactic Empire.
End of sentence. Yep.
End. Like that's
yeah. So who knows?
So she's dead, but she lived on.
We'll get there when we get to her screen. I mean, I have some theories. We'll talk about it. But that kind of was the big buzz. Not that, we got the trailer. It's holy shit. A, an awesome character is back. Yay. But B, what the fuck? So we'll kind of talk about that. But the creatives are aware. They've specifically said, listen, we get it. We've handled it appropriately. So I'm sure we are going. It is going to be explained to us. It's not going to be a somehow Asajj Ventress has returned. Hopefully. But anyways, if you're new here, Nick and I, anytime we get new Star Wars trailers, shows, animation, episode shorts, you name it, we will sit here around the horn, break it down, dive deep, and let the fans know what we think and what more than likely is going to happen because we're that fucking good. To kind of get some nuts and bolts stuff out of the way, Bad Batch Season 3 debuting February 21. So unfortunately, it looks like they're like, hey, fuck you guys, in the Tuesday night reveal, we're going back to Wednesdays. So Matt, eat shit. That does not make me happy. But I still think we're going to move shows to Wednesdays depending on Nick's schedule. But we're going to get a 3-episode drop on the 21st. They're not playing around. We also got the full lineup of episodes. So we'll discuss the episode titles once we get through the screens. But Bad Batch Season 3 start February 21. It's going to be over by May 6th. So they're clearing the slate going into Star Wars Day, which means it's probably going to be a couple months before we get one of the live actions, which I think we kind of expected. We've been talking about Acolyte and Skeleton Crew probably hitting late summer, late fall. But Bad Batch is going to take up the spring for us, which is nice. So, great trailer. Plenty of intrigue. A lot of mystery there. Some characters. If you were looking in the screens, you're like, whoa, hey, what are they doing there? Or who's that? And, well, that's why Nick and I are here. So we're going to go through the screenshots we took. If you want to follow along, we're on StarWarsTime.net. We are on the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer stills, Ventress reveal, and episode titles post. All right, those of you on the live stream, you just got to poke your little flesh orbs up here. Take a peek. Here we go. If you want to join the live stream, don't forget Tuesdays, at least for now, 5 p. East, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Oh, I did a reaction trailer like the kids do. Never have really understood those, but I did one yesterday because it was easy, and I still don't understand why reaction videos are popular, but it's probably why I'm 43 and I'm kind of out of touch with a lot of the trends these days, and that's okay. But here we go, Nick. We'll start with the screens, then we'll kind of go through the episode titles. Up first, the trailer kind of starts. They're clearly on a heist mission, a rescue mission of some sort, right? They're running from TKs. They're in one of those big ass. I forget the name of the tanks, but we see them in Rogue One. It's kind of the thing that Jyn is rescued off of. And there's 3 of them there, and this is the interesting thing, Nick. I'm sure you didn't see this, so this is the first one I kind of want to dive in on here. But during the rescue mission, right around when the TKs land on top of their transport, And, we see Fee, obviously. Fee's back. That's good. Remember, Fee kind of became one of their allies, even more so than Sid. Sid turned on him in the end, like we expected. And it seems in season 3, they're still going to be kind of lockstep with Fee. It even looks like they're going to be, is it Puba? Nick, what was that horrible episode in season 2 where they spent the whole time on that?
Pabu, right?
Pabu, there you go.
Yeah, Pabu.
And it looks like that's still going to kind of be their base in season 3. But anyways, Wrecker, Hunter, and some dude in Crosshair's armor are on this mission. Nick, if you see here in the next screenshot after Fee, if you look to the left over Hunter's shoulder, we have a clone wearing Crosshair's OG Clone Force 99 armor, the gray and the reds. So, is it him? Or is it another clone that they may have just rescued and they're bumming Crosshair's armor that may have been left behind?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And I think that we get a little bit more context in a screenshot later down in the trailer, but it is like it seems so unlikely that they would pick somebody else up and just be like, well, here you like just wear his armor, because that feels like a sacred thing to that family, right? Like the Bad Batch doesn't seem like they're just going to be like, well, here, like, this is just leftover armor that's laying around, especially when when it comes to like Wrecker and when it comes to Hunter, like those, I mean, obviously Tech is dead, maybe, who knows? Like they were very much like, all in on like the family idea of this group, and I just don't think that they would like throw somebody in that.
Come
armor.
on, it's him, man. This is post-rescue. All right. Why the fuck would they show it in a trailer then, unless the intern fucked up? That's all I'm saying. Like, come on, people, let's be real. This is either a blatant fuck up, or it's so obvious it can't be Crosshair.
I think, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just,
because I mean,
and like I said, once we get back down to it,
that would be a major season 3 moment. Not we all kind of figured that they're going to rescue at some point, but the fact that they could potentially rescue Crosshair early and have him for the mission to get Omega, that's fucking huge, because Omega and Crosshair are in the same building at the end of season 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's and like again, it's like it's hard to tell because usually they're taking like episodes 1, 2, and 3 are going to be what your trailers from, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's what we've seen in all of the other shows. They don't really give you stuff from later in the season. So it would be a huge surprise if they rescued him that early on. And like you said, they're like Crosshair and Omega are relatively close to each other, like they're
both
like,
in the Tantus facility. So
yeah, like why would you rescue one and then not get the other? But it just seems so weird to me that they would just shove somebody else in that armor.
Well, I was kind of spitballing this with Connor. Even in the trailer, in hell, season 2, all Rex is doing is going around and saving clones that have broken conditioning, have left the Empire. So it could very well be, hey, we need to go get this clone. They're locked up. Clone has no armor, and Bad Batch is like, all right, motherfucker, we need you. We don't care if you've been locked up. We need you to fight. We need to get the hell out of here. Throw on Homeboy's armor. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, they're just like, hey, who cares? The fans probably know they're going to rescue Crosshair. Let's just piss it away in the first trailer for the season.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if it was the first one, because they also, I mean, like, I guess we assumed that Echo was going to come back and help him, but like, you get the reveal that Echo essentially like rejoins the gang too. Mm-hmm. So,
like I said, very, very interesting thing to leave in there if it's truly him, and that's why I can't I just can't commit to. Oh yeah, it's obvious it's Crosshair, because that would be a big overstep from the Lucasfilm team. Whoever chopped up, you don't edit a trailer with a big reveal like that and put it out.
Yeah.
I've never seen Star Wars do it, at least, and I'm pretty damn good at picking up on little shit and speculating, and I don't know. It seems too obvious to me, so I can't fully dip my toe into that's Crosshair, that pool or pond, whatever you want to say. But we'll see, because I mean it is his armor, because you can see him there. Next shot, Nick, as they're jumping off the transport, he's up there. He's got the pack, the gun, everything. So ready to rock.
And that to me is, it's not so much the armor, it's the gun. That's the giveaway to me, because like that's a very specialized weapon. Like you're not going to hand a sniper rifle to some rando that you pick up because like they just don't know how to use it. Like, and like to me, like that weapon was very specific to Crosshair. That weapon was obviously like built for him with that in mind. And I just don't know if like you can just give that to some clone off the street and they're going to be able to use it properly. So that was the one thing to me that I was like, that like pushed it over the edge, that it's probably Crosshair because of the gun.
They got Django jizz in them. Mandalorian weapons are their culture. I think they could figure it out if they were given a pew pew. They'd be like, all right, point it this way and squeeze. It's just, don't you think, like for both Bad Batch and the character, that his redemption would be better served if he sacrifices as they're trying to save him and her?
I mean, I guess it depends on how they approach the sacrifice or how they approach the rescue, because there's a world where this rescue occurs early and you have a whole season where your season is not just build up to this one event and then like over. They may just want to be like, look, everybody knows that they're going to get rescued, so put it up front and then give us the whole season to have another storyline that they're working towards. Because honestly, if the whole season was, well, we have to do this to go save them, and we have to go this to do save them, and it's just like them doing little shit to prepare for them to go on the rescue mission, then the whole season just feels like it's leading up to one specific event that everybody knew was going to happen anyway. So like,
so this way, you could potentially introduce the narrative of how does Crosshair and his brothers make peace for his decision.
Yeah, you know, like if that's the case and we're not going to go with the heroic sacrifice of Crosshair to save Omega, then it's like,
it's more of a redemption tour.
Yeah, well, it's like a redemption tour, and it's like, how do you fix a broken family? Yeah. Because not only is it like, well, Crosshair's the one that needs to be redeemed, there's a lot of family like Tech is dead, and Omega got kidnapped. There's so much healing to go on between these core members that like, if your end moment of the whole series is like, we saved them, then you have no room left to get through all of that emotional like bonding, like in figuring out what this family looks like now that you've lost one of the members, and one of the members has turned against you and then come back, and you had this kid that was kidnapped and now is back. Like,
you're probably right. I mean, the bigger bang is probably in Crosshair coming back, making peace, and then dying after the peace has been made. That you know, it's the tragic hero where, yeah, you know, he kind of went off script, came back, rebuilt himself up, did a heroic thing, but it cost him his life. So just when it felt like Crosshair was going to finally get everything he needs, he has to die.
Yeah, and there's like, you know, I'm sure that there's information that he can give them, and that information, once he's extracted, may lead them on like, okay, now that they're back, this is the big goal. We have to take down this facility. Like, they may decide like, point. You know, like we have to do, like, we can't end just saving them, because that doesn't resolve anything.
Well, yeah, because we know they can't find the location now, because at the end, I believe I forget the very end, but something happened. They're either going to get a tracker on a ship or follow the ship to find Tantus, and they couldn't. So they've effectively lost Omega's trail. They have no way of finding her. So that, yeah, I mean, it would make sense if he came back and kind of provide that intel. And the groundwork is laid. If you remember, he's the one that escaped his bondage to send them, what was it, like Clone 9 or something 99. It was one of their commands.
Call signal or something.
And that kind of tipped them into what they need to do, where they need to go. And obviously that's when Tech passed. So Yeah, I don't know. I found it very strange that they snuck that in there. I mean, you could have got away with these shots because they're fast moving, unless you're a weirdo and taking screenshots, you wouldn't have seen it. But the fact that they just did a close up and it's like, hey, they're Crosshair's back and he's in his 99 armor. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nick made some good points. Next one here, dude. And really, it's a throwaway screenshot. It's the ship of, I believe, it's the shot of Fee's ship. I think it is approaching what looks to be Coruscant, but there's there's this like Mass Effect looking space station up there.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Is that Coruscant 1? I didn't think that was till New Republic time.
I don't know if this is like, I mean, is this like some sort of new like planetary defense space station that the Empire has built on the outside of Coruscant?
It's odd because we never saw it throughout the Clone Wars era or the prequels, right? That's the only time we checked in on Coruscant. We didn't see it in The Mandalorian when we went back to Coruscant during the New Republic. It could have been on the other side of the planet. Who the fuck knows? I even looked up. I was like, is this a thing from High Republic? Like, no, Starlight Beacon is out in the Outer Rim.
Yeah, that's way out there. So what the only thing that I can think of is that blue hue that you see around Coruscant, this is all from Legends, and I'm sure that they've edited it or whatever, but like that blue hue around Coruscant is a shield. It's an environmental shield because Coruscant has... its atmosphere is not thick enough to prevent... Well,
you're right, because you remember, you see the tip of the mountain in the square, like Coruscant's main plaza, because the entire planet has been built up and built up and built up and built up. So Nick's right. I mean, the buildings are essentially in space almost.
Yeah, so like you need this force field around the planet to sustain the atmosphere for it, because if it wasn't there... how high everything is built, you would essentially suffocate. So that could be like one of the environmental protection stations that like monitors this like enviro shield around the whole planet. Because I remember in Legends, in the X-Wing series, one of the things that the now the New Republic, or like the rebels did after they blew up the Death Star, was they invaded Coruscant. And one of the ways that they did it was they caused storms inside of the force shield that made the shield go down. So they could invade. They had like all of their ships invade after the force shield went down, and they took Coruscant back. So I wonder if that may be like a representation of some sort of like enviro shield station that monitors that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a massive space station. I mean, there's some shit going on there. I don't know. I mean, hopefully that's where they're headed and not Coruscant, because I'd really like to get some insights into what is this. I'm with you. I think the Empire probably
because if you look at it too, it's like it looks like it's a little bit like you got the red light,
very imperial,
darker metal.
Oh yeah, so. it's got like the Death Star grays going on for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, hey, I know Coruscant. I've never seen that thing before. I wonder what the hell it is. All right. Well, I did my research. Like I said, the only space station I could find in Coruscant was something called Coruscant 1, but that was New Republic, and I don't even know if that's canon anymore. So, all right. Anyways, moving right along through the trailer, stuff that's important. Clearly, Rex is going to be heavily involved in this season. You would think. No, I don't think he's not going to be a main team member, but he's going to be interfacing with the guys, kind of letting them know. And from the trailer, it's like, listen, our brothers, I thought we'd be safe after the Clone Wars, but it's actually 10 times worse for us now. The clones at this point are essentially being hunted down and destroyed systematically. So Rex's mission of saving as many clones as possible continues into season 3. And you would think the Bad Batch are probably going to be much more engaged now because they need help. They need to find these clones, as Nick said, to get as much information as they can on the Empire to try and get the little girl back.
Yeah, I mean, Rex is an inevitable part of this season, so like seeing him back here and obviously like in his Rex get up in its full armor and everything like that, not surprising to see. And really, I mean, I guess what will be interesting here is like, you know, we associate Rex and Ahsoka so closely, so is there a possibility, especially during this timeline, where like her focus is on like helping out the rebellion and like protecting the people in the fallout from Order 66 and the rise of the Empire. Like, is there a possibility that Ahsoka makes an appearance here?
I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because one of our rainy day topics that we now have to get scheduled is top X characters needing to make a Bad Batch debut. And let's just say she's number one on the list. So yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Hopefully we remember Rex, because I have a point I need to make once we get towards the tail end of the trailer on the final mission and what you think it could entail and who could be on it. But if I forget, try to remind me. You people in the audience, you're probably even better at that. Try to remind me. Okay, so like I said, Rex and meets Hunter. He's like, hey, man, our brothers are getting fucked up everywhere. Then we get kind of a montage of just clone carnage. We get this purple-hued planet with Tatooine-esque structures on it. Not really sure where this is. Definitely not Pabu, but there's some shit going on there. Burning clones. We get a downed Marauder, more dead clones. Like I said, it seems the Empire is going to be ramping up the systematic extermination of the clone troopers in season 3, which we knew coming. They were starting to do it in season 2.
It's like, very openly in season 2.
Yeah, it's like, you don't like this? Okay, you die. Yeah, you get locked up and repurposed. Yeah. There's obviously a tone here, Nick. This season, it seems that the TK units are going to fully supplant any clone troops, at least spread throughout the galaxy. You know, we get the shot of this planet. You got all the TK troopers kind of rolling in and taking shit over. Yeah. Then we start getting shots of Omega, right? You know, looking a little older. There was. Let me pull up my notes here. Yeah, Nick. So it's coming up here, but actually, I'm a few shots away, so I'll save it. But there's a line that Hunter says that implies that I think a fair amount of time will have passed between season 2 and season 3, but I'll kind of save that there. So we see, Omega, she's still locked up. They got her all in her little clone outfit. She runs across her buddy Crosshair, who at this point we're speculating he may be getting saved before her. Or hell, Nick, what if he just gets out? Or they take him somewhere else and he gets out, and that's how the batch gets him. One of those types of deals.
Yeah, he may find an escape route out himself if they're like transporting him between different facilities or something like that. Yeah,
and he's not looking happy there. I mean, that's a pretty like depressed looking clone. Do you remember what's her sister's name? Oh, Emir, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who we're coming up to here. For some reason, that name was
the one with the goggles on, right? The one that essentially like is filling kind of like an Afra-esque role.
No, you remember at the end of season 2, she comes out and says, "Hey, I'm a clone. Like I'm a special clone, just like you in Clone Force 99."
Yeah, but I was thinking of her as like more of like a researcher, kind of like similar. I mean, I guess Afra was way more like in the field of research and like more Indiana Jones-esque.
Oh, dude, like in the comics, bro, she's essentially like a being at this, like a star being at this point in time. Like she can channel some crazy ass being to take over. Hemlock is, he's going to be our main antagonist, and it looks like he's going to get a visit from Homeboy coming up down here. Good old Sheev. It seems, Nick, he says something like, "Hey, keep the girl locked down." Maybe this is after Crosshair gets out, or maybe they make an initial attempt and get him, and that's when Hemlock's like, "Hey, shit, if they could get Crosshair, if Crosshair could get out, clearly they're after this kid. We need to really lock her down." It's almost like they have her pinned with lasers to where if she moves, she's going to get whacked in half. Or maybe they're lasers that they're kind of like those ray shields where they just hold her in place.
Yeah, I was wondering what this one shot is of like, the one that you're talking about with like these beams kind of scan. I don't know what's going on. It's like if that's her cell and she literally can't move, but it could also be like she's being scanned, like going into a room, like this is scanning her for like foreign objects or something like that. But they definitely have her under very close watch, and I mean, you could be right there. It might be because Crosshair somehow escaped or something like that. Yeah.
There it is. We get the shot with Omega's sister, the clone sister. Her name's like Amir or something like that. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember this name. This is usually what I do. This is the one thing my brain can retain is useless Star Wars facts, but not today. And I mean, obviously, she's going to play a role in season 3, more than likely to help, even though she's done a lot of shady shit to Crosshair and technically Omega by just allowing her to get caught and locked up. But I do deep down think she's maybe not necessarily a plant from an outside force, but she is there to ultimately help her clone brothers and sisters, don't you?
Emery Carr.
Okay. Don't you think she's ultimately gonna maybe not break bad since she kind of break good since she kind of already did by technically letting Crosshair slip past her?
I mean, I guess to this point it's more about like under how much control is she, like what level of control is like put under her, because I do think what may end up happening here is like they know, like Clone Force 99 essentially knows that like the extermination process of all of the clones has started. So what their end goal might be once Crosshair is out is like, we have to free the rest of these clones from this facility that are there, because there are other clones that are there as well, and she may be a part of that whole circumstance. Right. So yeah, I mean, she may become what is effectively a mole within the Tantus operation.
I mean, dude, there's a chance she's already linked up with Rex, and this is a long game plan. They got her hooked up with Hemlock as soon as possible. Who knows? She's definitely an intriguing character, someone that really wasn't doing much last season, but anytime she was in a scene, the camera would focus on her, kind of letting you know, like, hey, don't sleep on this chick. And then at the end, obviously, we get the reveal. She first really helps Crosshair after shooting him up with some shit, but she more or less lets him get out, and then she specifically reveals herself to Omega. And you're not going to kind of rat yourself out without some sort of deeper plan, so we shall see.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we see Omega looking out of the bars, we get a voiceover from Hunter, and he says, Omega has been waiting for us for a long time. So, Nick, are you thinking a long time could be months, years?
I don't think it's years, because if anything, it may be like 1 year.
A year, okay.
Yeah, because if it was multiple years, I feel like we would see a little bit more age progression on her, and she still looks relatively similar to the last time that we saw her.
Hair's growing back out a little bit again.
Yeah, hair's getting a little long. She doesn't look like she's, especially at her age too. Like, when 2 years pass, when you should see 11 years old,
a major change. Yeah. Puberty. So it's a bitch.
So I would imagine it's probably like close to a year that she's been in captivity. It would also explain, like, obviously Crosshair's been in their clutches a little bit longer, so that looks like maybe that's why he looks even more downtrodden, because it's like another year on top of the time that he's already been there. So I think that would probably be an appropriate amount of time.
That's not bad. I mean, these days, I'm still a little shell shocked from the zero amount of time that passed between Force Awakens and TLJ.
TLJ,
like, you never know, dude. You never know.
9 minute break.
Or you go to the Mandoverse and Jon Favreau's like, I don't know, it's fucking a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, who knows? Fucking years passed.
It's like who really pays attention to these timelines? It's like a lot of people.
Yeah, well, us idiots do, and then you have people who are like, oh, Ahsoka takes place before Empire Strikes Back. They're like, no, but I guess I can see why you idiots think that now, because things aren't clear even from the creators these days.
Yeah.
Okay. And here we go. Great fucking scene with Sheev kind of mimicking his Death Star 2 arrival. I love that. Yeah. The only thing we're missing from here is Vader, but I don't think Vader's allowed in Bad Batch. He's kind of out hunting Jedi at this point in time.
Yeah, I think that he's a little preoccupied, and like really, like, it makes more sense for Sheev to be more intimately involved here, because like Order 66 was his plan. Like Vader like obviously Anakin didn't know shit about it, and he's just like, all right, well, you just go hunt down the rest of the Jedi. Like, I have shit that I'm working on now. Well, yeah, because
Nick, this is somehow he returned. This is his cloning projects. I mean,
exactly.
This is clearly I'm pretty sure this is the landing bay at Tantus. It seems he's coming to visit. Some of the lines he's saying are like, hey, listen, motherfucker, this is the most important thing to the Empire right now, meaning me. So you will have any resource at your disposal. I'm pretty sure that's a general recap of what he says in these lines. But you gotta love him. He's got the Imperial Guards now, so time has passed a bit since the Bad Batch season 1. Clearly, you can just see the prevalence of the TKs. We're still using commandos, though. All right, there's still some clone commandos there. There's clone commandos seem to be Hemlock's personal guard, and like I said, it seems like Sheev is coming to visit. And I hope it's more than just good, I'll give you all the money. Let's get a little direction from Palpatine here, right? Like let's hear a little more of the man speaking the plan. Like,
I mean, if
like just say the cloning shit, right? I want to hear it come out of his mouth. Like, hey, how's the shit going?
Because
where's my baby? Where's Rey? Where's Rey's dad?
Where's all of my different clone bodies? But like, if there's one person that he's going to talk to about it, it's got to be Hemlock. Hemlock's leading the whole fucking thing. So like, if he goes into this conversation with Hemlock and is like all, mum's the word there, then really you're probably just not going to hear him talk about his plans, which is like what we need.
Yes.
Like it's you're using this, like this whole clone facility and this whole storyline around cloning in this show to essentially be like, this is what was like Tross was talking about. This is what we were, right. happens in the sequel trilogy.
Dark side, dark science, Sith magic. It is. You're right. I mean, this is the backstory for Somehow. Man, that's what it is. I'm surprised they didn't do it in Fortnite, but here we are. It looks like we're getting it in Bad Batch. But I really hope he's more than just a cameo. I want a little. Let's get a little of the Master's plans kind of laid out there. And you're right. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be able to talk about it openly, at least with Hemlock and Nala say, like, hey, have you shook down this Camino in enough to get the secrets on cloning? Because clearly we can't figure it out. They were awesome, but we genocided their asses. So
yes, like we accidentally killed their whole race. So now we have to figure it out. Yeah,
we kind of need a little help, pal. So I'll give you all the money you want, but this is what I need. I need multiple clone vessels. One's going to be my son, and he's eventually going to have a daughter who's going to kill me. So
he's like, he needs to say like, how is it going creating force infused clone vessels?
Yes.
Like that's what this whole fucking thing is leading to.
Nick, like it extends from here multiple decades up into the Mandalorian. And it seems like Gideon might have finally figured it out. So it's very important. Please just let Ian do his thing through Sheev. Give him some time. I know they don't like using the mains in animation too much, but this is a perfect spot for animated Sheev to kind of shine a little bit. Kind of like how Vader got a decent amount of spotlight in Rebels Season 2. He was almost they're the main antagonist for the most part. But hey, it was good seeing him. It was good hearing him. Ian, as always, just kills it as this character.
Yeah.
But I just let's get a little more than cackling and you can have a bunch of money. Okay, so this character has a lot of people wondering who it is, and I'm guessing they just forgot that we've seen characters like this in season 2. I'm talking about the slides where, and if you look at this one, Nick, where you have a bunch of TKs facing this character, that's Pabu, right? That's Pabu.
I mean that's because Pabu was like a tropical island thing, and that mountain behind them with this huge tree.
Right.
It looks like Pabu.
So it seems eventually Pabu is going to get ratted out, like most planets eventually did under the Empire. But they're probably going to send a major force there because more than likely they're going to learn that they've been harboring these clones. And more than just Bad Batch, you got to remember, I'm pretty sure Pabu is becoming kind of the clone haven, the rescued clone haven. But when we go to the next scene, we see the character in his face mask, and there's a bunch of people out there making videos like, who is it? Is it Crosshair? Is it this guy? Is it that guy? I just want to remind everyone, this is just probably another true believer clone. We saw this exact armor in season 2. I believe it was in episode 7. I actually pulled screens right before the show.
It was the one where like Crosshair goes on his first mission.
No, it's the one where they're trying to assassinate the senator from the Pampanota or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like episode 7 of season 2. And if you're on the stream right now, I have the screenshot up. It's a true believer clone. I don't know if these are clones that they've kind of gone and retweaked their chips. But if you remember, Rex ultimately kind of captures the guy, removes his helmet, and Rex is like, what's your name? What's your number? And he's like, hey, you have no markings. Like Rex essentially says like, hey, you're not like my other brother.
The rest of us.
Yeah. You don't have the shit. And before Rex could get any more information out of this clone, he took the electric pill.
Yeah.
So he's like one of these true believers, and he even said like something like "Long live the Empire," one of these fucking things. So it's probably just another clone that has been turned into one of these true believers. Could it be Cody? Maybe, because we never really learn where Cody shuttled off to, and that would be a big reveal. I don't. If all you were telling me I'm an idiot because I think that wasn't Crosshairs early on, this probably is not going to be Crosshair.
I mean, that's not Crosshair.
Right.
100% it's not Crosshair.
No.
I mean, look at the state that Crosshair, you think that Crosshair in the state that he's in captivity is then going to be like, yeah, sure, I'll lead this whole force to go kill all of my friends.
He already ratted out the Empire to try to get Clone Force 99 to find Tantus. So
yeah,
he's not playing on the Empire side anymore. That's been made clear. So I really do believe, just like we saw in season 2, this is going to be another true believer clone. And if they're going for a big punch, it's got to be Cody. Because
Cody, it's the last one.
We all thought, okay, he made it out. He left on his own accord, but he was just told that. Okay? Crosshair was told that by Rampart. I mean, do we trust anyone in the Imperial officer ranks at their word? No. So Cody very well could have been turned into this new true believer. And I think, personally, if I was writing a show like this, that would get your biggest narrative bang, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, to have it be an unknown, like an unnamed person, you know, like still cool armor and stuff like that. But like, if you're going to have like an emotional pull specifically around the clones, which is what this whole show is built around, then have like one of the most famous clones outside of Rex be, you know, one of your primary people that you have to deal with.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, it'd be awesome because, I mean, think of how tragic it would be. I mean, Cody on his own accord, after that mission where, you know, Crosshair shoots that king or queen or whatever, he's like, this is fucked up. I'm out. I mean, he's just like, I can't do this shit anymore. I'm out of here, bro. You do you, but Cody is not doing this shit anymore. So, like, to think that he was there, ready to rescue himself, but then the Empire essentially fucked him up and turned him back into a clone, a controlled clone, a true believer. It would be a tragic end for Cody.
Yeah. And I mean, like, how many times have you seen Rampart just let clones? Oh yeah, they can just leave. It's like, no, like, they don't let the clones just walk away.
No, they have to escape.
Either kill them. they kill them, or they put them in the Shocky machine, and then
or they end up at Tantus getting their brains fried with Crosshair. So I mean, that's what they're doing. If everyone remembers it, by the end of season 2, they're just shipping clones to be experimented on. So, but all these out there, I saw, I don't know, it was Beyond the Dune Sea. Not they shared a video from someone else. They're like, hey, this is this and that. I'm like, nah. There's precedence for this armor right here. Season 2, exact same armor, true believer clone. I think the twist, though, could be it's actually going to be a named clone this time, and not, as Rex said, hey, where are your markings? Where are your numbers? It was almost like the Empire was reconditioning or making clones just to be true believers at this point in time.
Yeah.
All right.
That makes the most sense for sure.
So there's that. And this is where things start getting crazy. We kind of see the transport probably at the beginning of the rescue mission that we see at the beginning of the trailer. Are they?
Yep.
Is it to grab Crosshairs? Is he already with them? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We get a shot of a Republic commando. Or an Imperial commando. A CX is what they... really, Nick, if you had the captions on, this guy is CX1, but I'm wondering if that's Scorch. And
that's what I was going to say.
Because he's always kind of been like Captain Dickhead for the Empire at this point in time.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I first saw this scene in the trailer. I was like, okay, so that's Scorch.
But it's just because if you remember, they've allowed him to kind of wear his colored armor up to a point, but this could be the next phase of them stripping the personalities from the clones as they phase them out.
Yeah.
You know, we get some dialogue. They're all coming for you. Actually, that's coming up here. We'll talk about that. But it's almost like at this point in the trailer, Nick, it then goes into, all right, who's who from Bad Batch and who can fans expect to see? How will they be involved? And that's kind of what you and I are going to figure out. So we got Fennec. We know Fennec has history with the Bad Batch. She initially was trying to steal Omega, but then eventually is like, you know what, fuck it. She prevented Cad Bane from getting her, or tried to prevent Cad Bane from getting her. So does the Batch link up with Fennec, ask for help, or is she going against the Bad Batch? Who knows, but we are going to get Fennec in season 3. What do you think? Do you think she's going to coming in to assist, thinking about her time with Omega, or could this be... she'll work for anyone. We learned from Mando that she was quite the Imperial assassin. Could this be one of her next jobs for the Empire?
Yeah, I mean, knowing that she was still an Imperial assassin at this point in time, maybe it's the time where she's kind of in her deciding phase. Like, do I still want to do this, or do I want to strike out on my own? It's very possible that it's a moment where it's like the Batch kind of approaches her, but then she turns them down. And says, this isn't my fight or something like that. But I do think that ultimately, if she's going to be involved, it would probably be on the side of the Batch, trying to help them out after she's decided that the Empire isn't, necessarily where she wants to associate herself anymore.
Yeah, I could see the Empire kind of putting out an all points bulletin to the seedier factions of the galaxy to try to hunt down Clone Force 99. But there's a part of me, even though her and Hunter probably don't love each other, there's a part of me that if Omega's directly involved, that she may end up assisting. But
yeah, especially if they're like, we need to go rescue her and the rest of the clones.
So
I think she would be into it.
Right after him, Cad shows up, another character that showed up in Bad Batch. He's definitely not helping. Okay, that's
not
clear.
A good guy.
That is clear. But I'm kind of liking what Travis is saying down here, and I actually thought about this too, because it makes a ton of sense. It adds to the whole family dynamic of the Bad Batch. But Nick, if we're getting all these bounty hunters in here, could it be time to introduce the brother? Is it time to bring in the Alpha?
I mean, I don't know what Cad's involvement is going to be, and I'm just not sure yet, how the involvement is going to happen, because I really don't see, I don't see a world where a ton of bounty hunters are involved unless it's coming from the Batch. How bounty hunters.
You're right. It was the Kaminoans that hired the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Now I think about it.
Because the Empire's not going to hire bounty hunters to what are they going to hire them for? To hunt down?
No, you're right. That was a Darth Vader special. If you remember, I mean, what's his name? Piet was disgusted almost that bounty hunters were on the bridge of the starship there. So.
Yeah, he said it in ESB. He's like, what are their kind doing here? So I think what it might be
Sid sending all these motherfuckers after the Bad Batch to try to get even more reward.
You know what? That could be it. That could be it for sure, because Sid is shitty like that. But my first thought was bounty hunters don't give a fuck. That's one thing that they've come out and said. It's look, the money's the money, and that's all I care about. And whoever hires me, I'm going to work for as long as the money's there. So this could literally be the Batch hiring Cad Bane, Like,
it'd be awesome, especially considering he almost murdered Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. But to Bane, it's like,
sure,
it's the job.
Yeah,
it's
I know, you're right.
Job.
Yeah, 100%. Like give him a puck as long as he gets a buck. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I think it would be pretty cool if it is instead of the Batch being hunted by Bane, it's now like they reach out to Bane to do the hunting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think obviously this is the end of the season. Who knows the fate of Omega? I think the fate of the Bad Batch themselves, Bad Batch proper, is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But Nick, the fact that they went through the trouble of naming her Omega, making her special, making her the only other unaltered clone. Boba's the alpha. Should we not get him? Right?
I think.
Or even if maybe she pulls up the file and sees him, like they need to make the connection that there's two of them out there that are identical outside of their gender.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too. It's like it would totally make sense if they did it. It's just like, what's the avenue to get him in? And the only thing that I can think of is like, because he's not going to do it altruistically at this point in his life. He's not at the point in his life yet to where he's like, oh yeah, there's like a bunch of clones that need to be freed. I'm gonna go help for no.
I agree there, but
benefit of my own.
If someone lets him know, like it's literally his sister from Django, that could be motivating. You got to think. I mean,
maybe. Yeah.
I know we learned through many decades that Boba always kind of wanted a family and connection with that he got through the Tuskens. But you would think after losing his dad and kind of milling around by himself, Asajj, what's her name? White lady.
Aura Singh.
Yeah, Aura Singh kind of filling in as a parent and Bosk. You would think if he learns like, hey, my dad also had a daughter, I need to go find her. Like I even think Boba at that age would be intrigued by that without needing money or a bounty puck or something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe so. And like, that is, it's very possible. It's just, I mean, at this point in his life, we really don't know where like Boba Fett's head is, like we don't really know what he's up to other than like he's trying to build his reputation in the galaxy. And I think that even like up to this point, he hasn't quite reached his peak fame yet. Like he hasn't quite reach that level to where it's like, oh, when you hear Boba Fett, he's the best.
Yeah,
of the
best. He's probably only 17, top 16, 17, because I think he would have been 10 in Attack of the Clones, 13 at the end of Revenge of the Sith, so the beginning of Bad Batch. And Bad Batch, like we said, it's probably covering 2 to 3 years, 4 years tops. So he's probably just about hitting adulthood at this point in time.
Yeah. I mean, but it's definitely possible that like he just, he sees an opportunity to be like, look, these like all clones in some way are, my family, my brothers. So, I'll make this like a one and done type of no pay required deal.
It would be cool because I'm still of the mindset like I would love to see these two link up in the Mandoverse era.
Yeah, because now
as adults, like Omega, she just comes back and we see what she became versus what Boba became.
Yeah, because I mean now, like really after this is like, what's the fate of Omega into the future? Like, are we just going to be like, okay, well, Bad Batch is over. Like Omega is, like her story has been wrapped up, or will it be like, okay, Bad Batch season 4 wrapped up. Guess who's going to be in the Mandoverse crossover movie? Omega's here.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of right, and I guess it's a little worrisome. It's like, is this great character with this history to Django, to Boba, to the clones in general? Is she just done after this? Even if she doesn't die, like does her story just kind of end? You're right. We're running out of a playground here in this era to flesh her out, and it would just have to be many decades later. Here's Omega now, and maybe we'll fill it in through backstory.
They couldn't put her in anything Mandalorian timeline even after she was introduced in Bad Batch, because then that would essentially tell you, well, like no matter what happens to her in Bad Batch, she's fine because she's in the Mandalorian stuff. So if they do have plans for her to make her way into the Mandoverse, they have to wait for after this season's over, because if it was before that, then all of season 3 would be like, well, we know she lives anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah, it's weird. The more you think about it, it's like, fuck, this could be it for Omega, unless they do like comic runs to flesh her out a bit more, because I don't see where you plop her in unless you start another animated series.
Yeah,
you know, Lord Gilroy ain't gonna work her in the Andor season 2.
Oh God!
So
no.
like, what?
God no!
I don't know. It'll be. That's really. I'm most interested in, concerned with Omega's fate in Bad Batch season 3.
It's really weird because this ends, and you don't really have a ton of time in the interim between here
and Kenobi
and Kenobi, and then Rebels.
Right.
Like all of those timelines start to get really close, so you don't have like a ton of time to do like, okay, well, we're going to do another animated series in between Bad Batch and Rebels.
Agreed. So
like,
who knows, man?
You know?
They better button this up nicely, or leave us with some little, carrot and stick. It just, I don't know. It just seems like it's the perfect combo. It just makes too much sense that the Alpha and Omega have to meet somehow, and it has to be meaningful.
Yeah, it's like, does Omega die? Because it's like,
yeah,
because like if she doesn't die, what do you do with her? Like that's Yeah,
you would think she would be someone gallivanting around the galaxy during a rebellion that would be involved, and this is a conundrum we keep kind of kicking the tires on, right? Yeah. We're always like, well, hey, we're learning about all these new characters. What the fuck were they doing when the shit hit the fan?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, this is the problem of like creating characters inside of timelines that already existed, that already had so much content for it.
It's like, listen, I don't want to bit, because hey, new Star Wars is great. I love all the new layers for the most part we're getting, but he's not wrong. It does introduce some very interesting conundrums for the canon when you really think about it. All right. So, like I said, at this point in the trailer, it's just kind of like it was almost like a roll call. Like, hey, let's go. All the names and faces, are they all going on a mission with the same goal? Who knows? Nala Se was kind of in that. Hey, look who's that. We've been talking about him, right? I don't know if you noticed this. I'm on the screenshot. We've got some traditional clones, some TKs, and a commando. And if you look, there's a clone right there in the middle everyone should be familiar with. That's Wolf, right?
Yeah,
we've been wondering
because we were always like, "Where's Wolf and Gregor?" Because that was the big questions. Because we know their fate from Rebels, like they were on that big sand machine. So,
and it seems that Wolf he's still kind of tuned up with the Empire.
Yeah.
And Nick, I don't know if it was him or someone else, but we get this line, and I have the guy's face up right now, and it does not look like Wolf's armor. But they say they are coming for all of you, and I'm assuming that's a clone to clones. Like, and this honestly, the guy saying this, I bet this is the dude in the helmet. This is probably another true believer clone, and he's like, "Listen, motherfuckers, you clones, your time is nigh. They are coming for all of you." Or it could just be they're coming for all of our hero clones. But I think he's like, "Hey, the Empire doesn't want you guys anymore."
Yeah, like like now at this point, I'm convinced what the end game is. The end game of this whole series is get the fucking clones out of Tantus. Like that is going to be after what you call it is out, Crosshair's out, whether it be by extraction or by him somehow getting his own way out. The end game mission is go back to Tantus, 1, free Omega, and 2, free all these motherfuckers. Like, get them all out. Like, get every clone that's in there out. Because if you don't, like you were saying, like, Wolf still seems like he's in La La Land.
Yeah, so what? Like, so now, Nick, kind of playing off of your theory here, do you think then at some point all the clones are just like, they have their come to Jesus?
I think that this is where Emery comes in. I think that this is where...
Does she send out like a new signal or something? Has she been working on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think it's like Emery's the mole. the plan is Batch and whoever they can get to fucking sign on to this cause. We're going to Tantus. We're freeing Omega, and we're freeing all of the clones that are already, have already broken conditioning and are now basically just, lab rats. And then 2, somehow unscramble all the other ones. And then, because essentially if you don't do that, then you've essentially just committed genocide as Star Wars writers. Like, you've killed every clone that ever, was, and that they're not going to do that. Like, so, that is the end game of this series, is like, get these fucking clones out and then get their heads unscrambled and then allow them to lead a life for themselves. That was something that happened in the, in Legends, like way later in Legends, you learn about like clones that had got in touch with doctors that figured out how to stop the the accelerated aging. Like, you had clones that had like gone on and, had lives of their own and had kids and, all this kind of stuff. So like, this storyline is essentially leading to a point to where the clones can exist outside of the Empire and have a life of their own. So
yeah, it's just I keep flicking between these two screenshots, and I guess technically the clone with his mask off saying they are coming for all of you, that it could maybe be Wolf. You can see the armor's a little darker there. Wolf's armor's dark at the top,
up towards the.
But I think it is the clone that's either wearing the assassin helmet from season 2, we'll call it that, or Wolf. And Wolf does seem like he's still pretty tuned up. He's true believer-esque. But they're going to have to figure something out, because he's one of the named clones that definitely makes it to all the way to Rebels and kind of becomes a little goofy, a little old goofy guy. No, that's Gregor's the nut job.
Yeah, Gregor
that's right.
was. Yeah,
he's the nut with broken eyes and whatnot. So
yeah, so he's got the one eye, like that one white eye.
But yeah,
that's all fucked up.
I like the shot of Wolf, and I like that they gave it to us, and he still seems like he's in league with the Imperial conditioning. So we'll see. But yeah, they're coming for all of you. Definitely the clones. All right, there's Hunter on Pabu. Mm-hmm. Rex, do you think... So, as the trailer's ending, Nick, and we're going through these roll calls, to me it's almost like, all right, they're building their team. But do you think Rex goes on the final mission? I don't. I don't think Rex gets mixed up in that. I think that's a Bad Batch led thing. At best, they'll bring some of the clones they've saved, like Hauser, Gregor, Fireball, so on and so forth. I don't think Rex goes with them.
See, man, I really think that it's in Rex's character to go, because if the mission is free clones at all cost, he's not going to be like, well, I'm going to sit this one out, fellas. Like, he's gonna be like, no fucking way, I am in it. If we're going to get our brothers out, especially the ones that are still under conditioning, like, I can go and save Wolf, and we know that him and Wolf are together, correct, in Rebels, correct. Like, he's like, I'm on the front line, motherfucker. I guess there's no way you're sitting me down for that.
I don't know. I'm not going to be surprised if Rex kind of dips out, or maybe something happens where his transport goes down and he can't get to the last bit, because I really do think, even though it's going to be a rescue mission, I don't think many are going to come out alive.
Yeah, it's like, I think that, like Travis was saying, like, a lot of them are going to die, but I think the ones that get out, they just fucking scatter.
Yeah, they disappear. But our heroes have to go. Like, we need heroes to die. Otherwise, why did they just quit?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have Rex and the other clones show up down the line, and then Bad Batch is like, fuck off. We're going to hang out on Pabu. Why not?
Yeah,
Rex helped us, but we don't want to help anymore. It just doesn't make sense. So, Clone Force 99, we all know that they're done. They're done.
Yeah, they're toast after this.
See you later. Sure. And Echo's probably toast as well. All we know is Rex, Gregor, and Wolf are the clones that make it through.
Yeah.
All right. There's Fireball. He's got his helmet off with his flamethrower. Makes sense.
With fire.
Yeah, yep. There's Omega. So Omega clearly gets out at some point. She's piloting something. I don't know if it's a drop ship, an escape pod, but she actually looks even older here, right, Nick?
She looks a little bit older, and I can't tell if it's because she's like dirtied up, and her hair
hair's different from earlier on. So they're Nick, we may even pass time in season.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Because like you said, if we're going Crosshair gets saved early, it could be they get that win, and that's what fucks their mission to get Omega, because they win there, and then the Empire just clamps.
Like locks down.
Right, and it takes another year or so almost to mount the rescue for her.
Yeah. And you have to imagine too, if the plan goes from like, okay, like see if we can extract them from Tantus quietly, and then Crosshair gets out, like that plan goes out the window.
Right, yeah, you can't use that avenue anymore. You burnt that one freebie.
Yeah, so then it turns into like build an assault team, get everybody you can, hire fucking bounty hunters, call in Fett, and we're just going.
Oh, speaking of Fett, what do you think about this one from Johnny? She, as in Omega, dies at the hand of Boba. That would be interesting. And like Boba learns at the end, like it was his sister.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what it comes down to is like the circumstances of how that would happen.
Yeah,
like,
why?
Are you assuming
exactly. I know
that like Boba Fett is working on the side of the Empire against them and the escape plan? I just don't see a way where that would make much sense narratively, even if they were to bring him in. Because if that's the case, and like Boba Fett shows up, he's working for the Empire, he shoots down Omega, then like I don't see like the narrative value in that, honestly.
Well, like getting him there wouldn't narratively make sense unless it's just the old cheap bounty hunter bullshit. But a brother murdering a sister, that's you could get a little juice out of that.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, like I know that it like because of the characters that are at play here, it makes sense for Boba Fett to be involved.
He probably won't.
It's just like it's hard for me right now to see like where that would come into play. I guess is
I'm with you. I mean, unless it is like this is when he just becomes bounty hunter Boba and take job after job after job. But it'd be kind of lame. They'd have to develop that a little bit in season, and I don't think they're going to spend a ton of time outside of the Bad Batch focus, the characters that have been our mains for 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
Here we get some clone action. We get a clone wearing purple. I don't know if that's from Mace's old unit. What else we get? Oh, Nick, we got a shot, and this is right before the Asajj stuff, obviously. And they kind of cut the trailer to make it look like Asajj is talking to them. We don't really know that she's saying, "Hey, I wasn't planning on killing you, but now I kind of feel like it." You just don't know. But in this shot here, you do see kind of Crosshair's nozzle coming through, right? Like the tip of the gun. So you just don't know. We don't.
That
see
was the one like. This one here was like, okay, you for sure see his armor up top. When I saw this, I was like, it's Crosshair. Yeah. Like he's back. And like I said, it's just the gun too, because they also have extra weaponry. Like we've seen them like have extra weapons on their ship. So like if you picked up a clone and you had extra guns, I'm not giving you the sniper rifle if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah. You get one of the pistols like, or one of the rifles, right?
Yeah, something else. So, yeah.
So anyways, really the last interesting bit here clearly is the end. There's some sort of attack, it looks like, on a planet at night. There's TKs getting blasted. And then we get the Asajj reveal. So, the
Asajj reveal, this is my thought on it. And this is why I brought up Ahsoka in the beginning. Because we know at the end of Clone Wars.
They team up.
Those two are, I wouldn't call them friends, but like they work together, and like there is an understanding between Ahsoka and Ventress that like, look, we may have been, adversaries when I was still in the Jedi Order. I'm done with that now, and like now it's more about like what do I need to do to survive, and like I feel like if there's an avenue to bring Ventress into here, it would be through Ahsoka.
Like working with Ahsoka to do rebellion type of shit, or how?
I think it may be like if we're putting like if the mission really is like put together a super team that can take down a fucking entire Imperial base, then having 2 Force users on my side is something that I'm willing to.
Yeah, I mean, it could even be like indirectly where Ahsoka gives Rex some intel, like, hey, there's some rumblings of a Force user out in this sector.
Was dead and now may not be dead.
Right, and we could potentially, well, maybe they don't even know it's Asajj. They just know it's a Jedi, maybe. And they're like, hey, maybe they can help our cause, and that's how they find her. Just to fill in some Asajj stuff, and I don't read words and shit, but I did brush up on Wikipedia today on Dark Disciple. So, Nick, this is essentially how Asajj gets to this point with a yellow lightsaber. As you expertly recounted, by the end of Clone Wars, the season, Asajj is becoming a good guy. She had left the Sith. She renounced the dark side, and it was more or less a bounty hunter. And then the whole shit went down with Barriss and the Jedi Temple and the bomb plot. And as Nick just kind of brought up, Asajj ends up helping Ahsoka figure that shit out, like get to the bottom of who actually did it. And from here, we get into the Dark Disciple novel, Nick, and she only grows more and more in the light. So much so that she teams up with Quinlan Vos to hunt down Dooku. They fall in love, all that good stuff. And he brings her back to the Jedi Temple, to the dismay of Yoda and them. Like, what the fuck are you doing with this dark side motherfucker? Fuck her. Make a long story short, she eventually goes back to the temple with Quinlan after he starts to follow the dark side. Like he runs into Dooku one time and he kind of goes off the deep end. And they go back to the council, and for some reason the other masters can't tell that he is dabbling in the dark. And she's like, hey, fuckheads, like, this guy, I love him, but he's gone a bit kooky. Either way, they get sent back out to go after Dooku again with a lot of the Jedi, or maybe that was the first time. I know Obi-Wan is involved in it. Either way, they go out the second time to try and get Dooku. And this time, you got Quinlan. He's a little dark side at this point. You got Asajj, who is on the light. And they're fighting Dooku, and Dooku sends a lightning bolt at Quinlan, and she eats it for him. That's how she dies. And it also returns Quinlan to the light.
And I mean, honestly, if you want somebody to recap this, Taylor read this book like right when it came out, and she really enjoyed it.
It sounds like a great book, but what I was getting at is the Jedi Council essentially absolve her of her crimes after all this. Like all the work she does with Quinlan, she is in the light. I'm not saying she's a Jedi; she's no longer a dark side user, but she died, and the way I read it in the book, it seems like she doesn't go back to Dathomir for a couple of months after her death, and they drop her in some river in her hometown, and little green mist comes out, and she becomes one with the planet or whatever. So she technically was dead. Now, she's not. But
I mean,
unlike some of the other returns, this one, it can make a lot more sense knowing her Night Sister background, Dathomir's ties to the Night Seer, the Night Sisters, its ties to fucking Peridia. Now we know that. Like, I mean, Dathomir could be as old as dirt in our galaxy. It could have some really ancient shit there. Magic, dark magic, who knows? So a dark magic user who also had ties to the Force, who was turned into green mist. Could she be resurrected? Sure.
Dude, I mean, it's here's the thing is like they're assuredly not bringing her back from being dead for one episode, or like for this season to kill her again. So like what my question is like what is their further plan with this character? You know, because I feel like one, Ventress is one of my favorite characters from Clone Wars because she's very intriguing, and she opened up a lot of the Night Sister lore, which we had never really seen before. So, and now we know that we're getting steeped back into that, like you said, with Peridia, with Thrawn.
I think you're onto something, man. That could be why they're putting her in here.
Yeah, it's like they're not gonna resurrect this character, at least in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't resurrect this character for a one-off season of cartoon TV. That is just like, okay, she was dead, we bring her back, she died again, now she's really done, we just wanted to write something about her. Like, they have to be doing something more substantial with Asajj as a character for them to literally take a canon death, like that is listed as canon and is a novel that is canon, and bring her back.
Yeah, and like I said, Brad Robb, Jennifer Corbett, the people that run Bad Batch are like, listen, we love her, we want to tell some stories, we're going to honor it all. So to me, that means they are going to explain it away. But Nick makes a very valid point. This shouldn't just be a one and done type of bullshit. It would cheapen a lot of things. And I'm okay with retcons like this if it's explained away properly, right? Like if they can make this make sense, and as you said, not waste the character, great. I love Asajj is back on the fucking map, okay?
Yeah.
But if it's gonna go your way, where it's just like, hey, yeah, fuck you, it's just, hey, it was neat, it was a cameo, it gave us a bump on our trailer, that'd be horseshit. She's definitely not a clone, all right? We know this. No. That's what Palpatine is trying to figure out right now. Yeah, how to clone Force shit. Okay, so she's not a clone. She's more than likely has been resurrected on Dathomir, just like we've seen happen in the past with other Night Sister type of characters. It just seems she's not going to be a zombie, and she's going to be fully back.
Yeah, I mean, now, so what I'm really interested in is, like, fantastic, she's back here, it's going to be cool as fuck. Are they planning on using her in this Mandoverse stuff?
That would be awesome.
Because, like, what better tool to have against an army of Night Sister zombies, or like Night Sister led folk, than a Night Sister Force user? Like, you essentially have their playbook on your side if Ventress is still alive and starts working with the heroes.
Yeah, because I mean,
and then what a fucking awesome team up if Ahsoka makes her way back and she's like, oh shit, you're back too?
That would be tits, dude. Seeing these former adversaries slightly teamed up for a common cause come together and kind of on that battlefield as women of the Force would be amazing. I mean, Asajj, she's rolling pretty much her look coming out of Dark Disciple. You know, the comb over,
the hair. Yeah,
I even think she started to do some of the Quinlan Voss like tattooing on her face a little bit. She had the yellow lightsaber back then, so it's all very canon correct. It's just I'm with you, Nick. Let's not waste this. All right, this is a pretty big thing to do to the fandom. This is retconning her death is huge, but if they explain that away properly, and as you said, they use her in an extended capacity, I think this is a win across the board.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say that it's like they really need to figure out their content side in terms of like what is canon and what's not canon, and like who you need to pass this shit by before you write stuff.
You are right though. The line of demarcation, I believe, is when Disney bought everything. That's the true reset, and I even think Dave himself has come out to say, yes, those books in this new era, it is all canon now.
Yeah, because it's not just fucked up for the people reading, it's fucked up for the people writing
that wrote it.
Because like the person who wrote Dark Disciple is like, this is going to be a very big moment in Star Wars history. One of the most beloved characters from the Clone Wars era is going to die here. Like, and now, like, she wrote this book and like it was signed off on canon, came out in 2015, and now they're telling this lady, her name's Christine or Christy Golden. They're like, oh yeah, like you killed Ventress, but like we're just gonna bring her back. So like whatever you wrote, like it was cool and stuff back then, but like we want to do some stuff.
It's still canon. We're manipulating it a little bit.
Somehow she came back.
Like Travis here saying it's possible Ventress takes an Omega in the end, raising her like a daughter or sister. Sure, why not?
I mean, maybe. I mean, like that. Could be.
That would give her some some purpose outside of just, being a combatant. That would allow her to stay around for a few more episodes. All right. I mean, it was very exciting. She clearly was the big reveal of the trailer. It was purposeful, very purposeful. Much more so than I think sneaking Crosshair in the background. I don't know. I still think that's suspect, but hey, we could find out February 21, because as we'll see here looking at the schedule, we're getting a 3-episode drop for premiere day. So episode 1, Confined, episode 2, Pass Unknown, episode 3, Shadows of Tantus. So Confined, Nick, it sounds like we may be catching up with our locked up clones predominantly. Yep. Pass Unknown, that's probably picking up with the boys, trying to figure out, all right, where do we go from here? We're scattered. We've lost a brother. Another brother's locked up. Now we lost our sister. Shadows of Tantus, that could potentially be the Palpatine visiting Tantus. Maybe we get some insights into that. All right. Yeah. And then we get 3 episodes day 1. On the 28th, episode 4, A Different Approach. This just sounds like, I don't want to say throwaway, but this could be one of those like, hey, we've been trying to do this way. Now we need to think about an alternate path forward here. And maybe The Return. That's an interesting one. Episode 5, The Return. The Return to what? Are we returning to Coruscant, where they were, kind of stationed there? We know they can't return to Camino because it's gone. Are they returning to Ord Mantell to fuck up Sid? Or is it the return of a character?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, really, I expect Crosshair to be back with the crew by episode 7.
Yeah, because, I mean, Nick,
by the end of 7, he's got to be back.
Well, read the titles. I mean, so March 13th, we're getting a double dipper. Starts with Infiltration.
And then
ends with Extraction. So, more than likely, are you thinking episode 6 and possibly 7 are the trailer shots of the the tank, the caravan, and Fee coming in to get them off of that? Could that be that deep into the season?
It could be. I mean, it could be. Because A Different Approach, the way that I read that is like, we've been trying to figure out how to get into Tantus. It's not going to happen. Like, we can't infiltrate it. So what can we do to get him or them away from Tantus so we can get him back? Like, I think that's what 4 is going to be the crux of, is like realizing that they, as a 3-man unit, I mean, fuck, at this point it's a 2-man unit. like what can we do? Like, we can't realistically infiltrate Tantus. We just don't have the ability to do it. So they're going to try to work out a deal to where, like, they try to get Crosshair somehow away from the Tannis facility, and then they do their whatever is happening with the fucking pickup with Fee and the big truck and everything else.
Right.
I think that's kind of like what their plan is going to be.
Yeah, I'm with it. Just the titles, and sometimes once we get in season, you find out the titles it's just a bunch of horse shit. But
yeah,
it does. It seems like 5, 6, 7. There's going to be something going down there, something big. The Return, Infiltration, Extraction. It could very well mimic what we may see in the premiere with a 1, 2, 3, where you're going to get a lot of narrative thrown at you, and you could have just a lot of narrative growth. Like, hey, fuck it, we already got Crosshair back at the end of episode 3, the end of episode 5, 6, or 7. So the other half of the season, he's back on the team. So episode 8, little over halfway, because this one's going to 15, I believe. Have they always been 15 or 16? Who cares?
I think it's 15.
Anyways, episode 8, Bad Territory. Who knows? Something doesn't sound good. Episode 9 is pretty ominous. The Harbinger.
Yeah.
Usually the Harbinger is followed with of death.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if Shadows of Tantus is not the Palpatine episode, 9 is the Palpatine episode. The Harbinger is the Palpatine episode, probably. So.
All right. And then things get even crazier. Episode 10, Identity Crisis. This is another twofer. And then Point of No Return.
Yeah.
That too could speak to Crosshair, or it could be
Cody,
the true believer clone in that in that assassin outfit.
could be Cody, could be Emery, like could be a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because then point of no return is like whoever is this person, and we're making an assumption that this person is inside of Tantus. Whatever happens in 11 is like
go back.
It can't go back.
Exactly.
The button has been pushed, and whatever happens from here happens from here.
Yeah, Nick, I think I definitely think you're on to something, because it's almost like after 11, it's just going to be boom, 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 bang. We're at the series finale, because, we get to April 10th. Episode 12 is Juggernaut. Mm-hmm. All right. That's just all going to be about Wrecker, clearly.
Yeah, just running through. Maybe he dies there.
Episode 13, Into the Breach.
Oh, yeah, here it comes.
Clearly we're breaking into something or somewhere. Episode 14, Flash Strike. And then finally, the series finale, and this one definitely has some meaning here. It goes all the way back to the Clone Wars Season 7. The cavalry has arrived. Who said that? Wrecker, when Clone Force 99 shows up, so that could very well be the Force, right? All the boys are back together, at least the living ones. Please let Tech be dead. And possibly Rex, Gregor, Wolf, Hauser, Fireball. Yeah. What? They're all coming. The cavalry's here to get the little lady out. So
yeah.
It's kind of how I'm thinking things are flowing.
I mean, dude, wouldn't it be sick if? Oh man, this would be a really cool way for it to happen, but it probably won't happen. So we're assuming that Emery is a mole, or will somehow turn into a mole within Tantus. They are in contact with her through some means, because they'll figure out some means to be in contact with her. The point of no return is Emery sets like a clone, like a clone chip thing, where like all of the ones who are still under condition drop condition as soon as the attack on Tantus happens from the outside smaller force.
Order 99.
Then all of the clones on the inside turn. All of the clones that they think are still conditioned turn at that moment. So not only are they being attacked from the outside, they're being attacked from the inside at the same time. And that's just chaos.
No, I'm not kidding. What if she issues an Order 99?
Order 99. Perfect. That would be perfect.
You heard it here first. Opus, pick it up so people can make fun of me for picking my beard and yelling at clouds. All right. Well, that was fun, and we don't have much time to wait. I mean, less than a month to get into good old weekly SWTS deep dives into new episodes of Bad Batch. First week we're gonna have 3 to get through, then a 1 to a double, 1 double, 1 to finish out right there at the beginning of May. And we'll have a couple weeks before Star Wars Day, and hopefully we get some new insights into the release of the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. With the way this cadence is going, as I was telling young Nick, it's pretty much guaranteed now. The earliest we're going to get Acolyte or Skeleton Crew would probably be end of August. And then the other would probably hit November-ish, December-ish.
Yeah, the holiday time. So.
All right. Well, we're going a little long. We got a few more minutes to go to get through the fan segment here. We do it every week. We give you 2 opportunities. You just have to get through the algorithms to find it, because the AI out there hate our guts, and that's okay. We know you meatbags love us. There's just not enough of you, and you don't have enough computational power in your brains to convince the masses. So first up, we do. Thank you, Travis. Let me put that comment up. Anytime anyone pumps up my ego, you get featured. Order 99 is a great call. I guarantee that's what's happening. Thank you. I'll take my bow. Thank you. All right. So, fan segment. Like I said, 2 ways to get in. The first way we're going to play right now is the question of the week. The way this works, I put the question up on Instagram at StarWarsTime.show, both in the stories and in the profile grid. You just have to figure out a way to find it, because like I said, it's not easy to find content on Instagram these days unless you rub your belly, tap your head, and jump on one foot. So this week, Nick, we asked them, what are you most excited about for Bad Batch Season 3? And we got a fair amount of responses, a lot of them quick, so I took them all. Go.
Go. First up is Mimbon_Survivor. He says, Tex,
no,
miracle,
please not, but he's probably
miraculous return.
Please no.
Oh my God. We already are resurrecting one dead character. Yeah. We cannot do two in one series.
Good point. Yes. Let Tech die. He earned it. It was great. Give him what Kanan got. Okay? It's enough.
Yeah. That's it. Like, that could be the rallying cry for Tech. You know?
Yes.
That's what gets the fucking crew going. So hopefully not. Next up, Ripik Tan says, this trailer looked great and packed full of action and characters we already loved. Stoked just to see what happens. Ventress is one of my favorites, so I'm really pumped for more on-screen storytelling with her.
There we go.
I'm definitely
So are we. Like Nick said, let's make it more than just a few animated episodes.
100%. All right, next up, 2797 Studios, Mr. Bat. He says, I'm most excited for the story to play out. Where does all this end?
Yeah.
Who's still alive? Do we see Omega and Boba meet?
What?
This is where the fun begins.
What? Love it.
Love it. Next up, the Marco, M.A.R.C.O on Instagram. He says, clearly Ventress, but also to see what kind of force abilities Omega has. My first impression was that she had something in common with the Emperor. Yeah, it was me and Matt both had the same reaction.
I don't know about force abilities, Marco, but we appreciate and we speak your name.
Yeah, we'll see. Skeleton astronaut. Yeah, skeleton astronaut says definitely the batches. Yeah,
I'm losing. I can tell we've had a long one today. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. I'm like.
Oh man. Next up, League of Extraordinary Sixthers.
Our lone female. Gotta love League.
No, Linda.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Linda. My bad, Linda.
League says Ventress for me, plus seeing how it all ends. Everybody wants to see how it ends. Yeah. Star Wars 6.
This is 66. Cool. We've picked him up. He's kind of in that crew with Beyond the Dune Sea. He runs his own channel. He's quite a content producer, so I'm glad he's starting to see our shit.
There we go. That's good. He says Asajj Ventress and seeing who hired her and if Quinlan pops up with her too.
That would be wild. He'd be like, yo, bitch, I thought you were dead.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I was pretty sure that I know the person who buried your body on Dathomir, so what the fuck's going on here? Nice. Next up, Vince Staler 05 says, just seeing Hunter, he's such a unique character and everything he does is badass. Right. He's Star Wars Rambo.
That's right, man. You gotta love him. Fantastic.
Good stuff. Darth Geordie or Gertie. It's somebody from the UK. Tones can probably say the proper way to say it.
Hold on real quick. While you bring up Tones, just want to speak his name here. He lost his mother this past weekend. He's been kind of filling us in on Discord, so we hope you're doing all right, buddy. I know you haven't been able to listen to the show that much. That's quite all right. We'll be here for you when you need it.
Indeed. Best wishes to you and your family, sir. But Darth Geordie here says to see who survives.
Yeah, I mean, if exactly. I'm with you, Geordie.
If anybody survives.
I'm with you.
Next up, this was a funny shot from the trailer for sure. Calro_Debro says Wrecker versus a croc.
Hell yeah, man. Space crocs.
Hey,
they're a thing.
Crocodiles are everywhere. They're dinosaurs, basically. Mando Pirate says the fate of Omega and Crosshair.
Where is Mando Pirate? He's usually a staple in the stream.
Yeah, he's usually around. Maybe he's got some work happening at this time now. And then last but not least, his Cryptic Mayhem says, hopefully to see the 501st. And honestly, I want to see what happens to clones like Commander Bly and the Galactic Marines. 501st. I don't think we'll see 501st. We may, but I think the 501st is like out in the field at this point, you know? Like they're Vader's.
Yeah, they could be like hanging out with homeboys, slicing down Force users and innocents in villages just so Vader has fun and can keep himself angry.
Because like the only way I see 501 showing up is if like the assault on Tantus happens and they like emergency call 501 and Vader like back to Tannis, but I doubt that'll happen.
If they were true boys of blue, as soon as they saw sexy Rexy, they'd be like, "Sir, yes, sir."
Yeah, they'd be in formation, ready to serve. But I mean, that is one thing that I guess we haven't really. I mean, especially now with Bad Batch, like with basically the whole thing turning to like, we're no longer using the clones, we're trying to exterminate the clones, that they just let Vader keep 501 and be like, yeah, they're fine.
I think, Nick, I don't know if it's legend, canon, this, that, the other thing, but I know I've seen theories out there that 501 served as like the first test subjects for Dark Trooper 1 V1.
Okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
That could be what they're doing at Tantus with the clones, is trying the Dark Trooper program, because as Gideon finally realized, like, hey, it took us 3 generations of Dark Trooper to figure it out. It's because you need a man flesh in there that has the Force. That's how to make the best Dark Trooper. All right, so those are our responses there. Let's go ahead and get screens switched up, and go ahead, Nick, kick us into the last segment of E294.
Yes. This final segment of Star Wars Time Show is the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. To get involved with this segment here, make sure to tag at StarWarsTime.show on all of your Instagram Star Wars posts, preferably art posts. If you use that tag, you will fall into our tagged section on our profile, and that's where I pull all of the top 5ers from. But also, just to help us pump up the numbers and make it look cool, keep using the hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Matt looks at that when he's looking to pull his daily features.
That's right.
So that's how you get into the daily videos that Matt puts up. But to get into the top 5, tag at StarWarsTime.show. That's how you get involved. And to kick off this week's top 5, this is a shot from @CodeK5, and it's a facepalm moment from Vader as he is flanked by his light side self, Anakin Skywalker, and Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, Ahsoka Tano. So I just thought it was a cool shot here, and like the way that I looked at it at first, it's almost a shot like it's like Anakin and Ahsoka like going, like into the world between worlds to like look at what Anakin Vader has become.
You might. I mean, I could get that, because I love that Kodak is using just some pulled cotton here, or stuffed animal guts. Yeah, I'm with you. Like I do think this is kind of like ethereal type of shit, and it is Vader in Darth form, almost kind of regretting his choices. The caption here: fear, anger, hate, suffering.
Yeah. It's almost like Ahsoka has pulled him through the world between worlds to be like, look at what you become.
Yeah.
Like, look at what happens to you. And, it's like a moment
I'm
of
with
reflection.
you. I dug the concept behind this.
Yeah, it was a really cool shot, really well executed by Codec 5 here.
Or it could even just be Vader himself kind of driving the vision, and he has, Ahsoka in his light form pulling at him. I don't know. Who cares? Either way, it's good. Codec 5, check him out. Matt needs to eat dinner. All right, next.
All right, next up, ChezPick66 here hits us with an awesome shot of our good friend Baylan Skoll from the Ahsoka series standing out in the cold. Maybe as they're progressing through Peridia, they hit an icy patch on their way to the monastery, and this is Baylan's journey moving forward on Peridia. But I just thought it was a cool shot. Obviously, probably the Baylan figure is new. If I had to take a guess, because I haven't seen a ton of shots of it yet.
It's new and apparently not the best, and that's why I really hope we get a Hot Toys, and we haven't. Nick, I think when you were gone, they introduced that they're now going to do the Night Trooper Stormtroopers, the Night Trooper Death Trooper, Enoch. No Baylan, no Shin yet.
You want to know why? They can do those Night Troopers because they all look the fucking same. Right. They just got to change the color.
Yeah, they just crack the armor a little bit, put some red cloth on it.
Put some red paint on it. Maybe make those eyes green.
Just, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that we're not getting Huyang in these two from Ahsoka. Yeah. I mean, come on, let's go. All right. ChezPick66, we love them. Natural light, natural setting, always kicks ass. Up next.
Indeed. Next up, Phoenix_toy photography hits us with the true hero.
That's right.
Of the Star Wars saga and the Star Wars galaxy.
No
it's R2D2. It's R2D2. Without him, everybody would be dead.
Yeah.
R2D2 making his way through some sort of Imperial facility, just made his way out of a carbon freeze chamber, it seems, with all the mist and smoke around him. But it's just a badass shot of R2. looking as cool as he always does.
Sure does.
And that is at Phoenix_toy photography.
I do like the smoke. The smoke's a nice touch. I always I love atmosphere, and sometimes when you're shooting in a set that's supposed to be inside of an Imperial structure, you're like, well, why the hell would I have smoke? Either way, it looks fucking rad. So thank you, Phoenix_toy photography.
Indeed. All right. Next up, Mando mugshots here. I know, like funny shot here. So it's a shot of a Gamorrean guard eating Grogu. He essentially has Grogu halfway down his throat. But don't worry, his Papa Din is here to save him, or Papa Jaren is here to save him. So he's got a chain slung around the neck of the Gamorrean, choking him out to get him to spit out Grogu as he's making his way through Boba's castle.
Yeah, I dig it, man. It's great posing here from Mando mugshots. They always do really nice poses. And like I said, I believe they shoot on an iPhone and mostly use digital backgrounds. So great use of the tools and some of the tricks of the trade here.
Pretty crazy that's all iPhone stuff. Yeah, I mean, fantastic work at Mando_mugshots. And to close out this top 5, we have a shot from at SpaceAceX_photos. And we got an awesome shot of Kylo Ren, unmasked Kylo Ren. For what the sequel trilogy is, we can, talk about that for years to come. But I still love the character of Kylo. I think that he was one of the best characters in the whole film, in all of those films. And it's a shame to me that we didn't get more Kylo backstory, more Kylo history, more Ben Skywalker stuff. So always love the visual presentation of Kylo, and especially that badass looking saber. So that's what we got here from SpaceAceX_photos.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, as someone that used to dabble in this hobby, I never had the balls to try Kylo's chaotic blade. But you are right. I mean, Space Ace X has just nailed it here, which just complements the very good-looking Hot Toys Kylo Ren, which I have one of those too. I have a few sequel trilogy Hot Toys. I lament the fact that I didn't get Old Man Luke in his Jedi tunic, and then Scav Rey, and then Island Journey Rey. If anyone has those Hot Toys and want to let them loose for not stupid prices, let me know. All right, Nick.
That is it. That's the end of the top 5, and that's the end of our show for this week. So, Matt, go ahead and close us out.
You got it, buddy. It was a long but fun one. I kind of had a feeling with Nick's return we might push up against the 3-hour mark, which isn't our preferred time. But, hey, when you got to get stuff talked about, you got to get stuff talked about. So thanks for tuning in to E294, everyone. Don't forget, if you are an existing fan, a returning fan, a new fan, you can always find our important information over on StarWarsTime.net. Those of you that stump for us, it's the best place to send people on the internet. Just head over to StarWarsTime.net. You can find their podcast links. And if you subscribe to the podcast, take the extra 1 second and go ahead and rate and review that bad boy. We appreciate all that type of interaction with the AI out there. The AI drives the algo. Humans drive the AI, at least at this point in time. So keep it up. You got to tell them you like us. The more you tell them you like us, the more it will show you our content. There's a reason we're seeing a lot of Connor and Matt clips these days, because they get a little interaction from the Beyond the Dune Sea crowd, which lets the AI know that I'm not that big of a dick face. All right? So let's keep it up. There's always time for Star Wars Time. And don't forget that, StarWarsTime.net, sub up to the podcast, hit up YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, like this motherfucker, leave a comment, turn on your notifications, click the sub. I'll even send up the graphic for you just in case you forget what it looks like. All right, my friends, it's been real. Good having young Nick back. Next week, hopefully, we'll get back to our top scenes in live action Star Wars, rounding it out with the sequel trilogy. That's the plan, unless they drop another reveal on our faces. So in between now and then, don't you forget, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always.